in his post-game presser about just kind of the attitude they came up with. And obviously we don't know their emotions or what they're feeling or what the pregame speech was and all that stuff. But just from the outside looking in, seeing how they were playing in that first quarter, tell me if I'm wrong, Alec, it felt a little lackadaisical. Kyrie Irving's throwing pocket passes like these aren't some of the best defenders in the league. You mentioned in crosstalk, Luka's throwing full court alley-oops to Gafford. We're throwing very lazy alley-oops in the half court, as if this team is not really good, as if this team is not one of the longest, most athletic, number one young teams in the league. And we're just like, oh, we can just out-dominate them like they did in that 30-point blowout. It felt like they were like, oh, we'll just do that again and it'll just work. No, they've prepped for you. They've been off for like a week. They know exactly what you're bringing to the table. And it felt like the Mavs, Jason Kidd as well, just didn't have many adjustments. They just felt like when their first punch didn't hit, all right, well, we're just going to kind of, and I love Luka, we're just going to kind of jack up shots now. And I think he will right his wrongs in today's game. But I think even Luka would tell you that wasn't his best game. He wasn't driving. He started off really good. He had like 7 points in the first like 3-4 possessions. And then after that, it just felt like just jacking up shots, bad passes all around, turnovers, ends up in a bad defense. PJ Washington gets into foul trouble. So just kind of compiled. It just wasn't a good game from the Dallas Mavericks.
And you can't do that because you can't get cute against a team like OKC because, I mean, this could be a segment in and of itself. What is one word that you would use to describe the current day Oklahoma City Thunder? My answer to that, disruptive. And what do I mean by that? They like to pick apart certain aspects of your game because they have such high energy and such young players that they can get contributions from guys on both ends for an entire game to the point where they like to target. They like to attack. And there were certain aspects of the Mavs game that I felt like they were targeting. And some of those were just the ball movement overall. I mean, that's obvious with 15 turnovers. And some of them, you're shooting yourself in your own foot on some of those turnovers. Like there was one, I think in the fourth quarter, where Luka was going to spin around in transition and it just bounced off of his shin. Like, you know, that's just, what are you going to do about that? That was... Could you say he was being careless with the ball? I guess. I don't know. But that was just one of those unlucky bounces. Whatever. But there are those full court passes to Daniel Gafford that don't need to be thrown because there's two guys in your throwing lane, for one. And two, I don't need you doing all the magic all the time that we saw in the last two playoff runs. Because back then, yes, Luka had to do all of that. That makes total sense. But you're starting to see that kind of trickle down amongst the other players. Like you mentioned in crosstalk, Kyrie Irving had a few turnovers of his own early on. You know, you're starting to see almost that unnecessary need to press when it's not near time to press. You don't need to press that early in a game. And look, I kind of respected, at least in the first half when it still felt close and within reach, I respected that early on. It felt like they were trying to step on the Thunder's throat and show them that we are better offensively than you. Like that's what it felt like to me at first in the first half. And I respected it to a degree because that felt like an experienced decision to me. That felt like a more experienced head coach in the postseason saying, I've got more experienced guys in the postseason, so I want to go out there and attack. I'm okay with that. And there were some bright spots that came from that. Josh Green was fantastic. Yep. I really again, we talked about this in the Clippers series. Don't look at the box score almost ever for Josh Green to determine how well he played because he's an energy guy, but he was knocking down pretty much every look he got as well.
Can we sit on that for a second? I want to hover over that. Who are some Mavs that you think were pluses in the game? That they could be star players, role players, bench players. Do you think, hey, going forward, this guy should be on the court? For me, you mentioned it, Josh Green, I thought really proved like, hey, I should be in this series. And I've even seen some people floating out there that he should start. And I don't hate it. 6-man, 7th-man starter, whatever. He's going to get minutes. Yeah. I don't really care when he comes in the game. But I think Derrick Jones Jr. was awesome on the three-point line, guarding full court, put back dunks, obviously. Who were some other guys that stood up to you that were pluses? I know there was a lot of negatives, but some pluses.
I really think those are the two guys that come to mind first. And That's kind of it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like guys that stood out.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody played horrible.
Yeah, just to their standard.
Yes.
Kyrie and Luka, they would say it themselves.
We have otherworldly expectations
Correct.
for superstars, and it's for good reason.
Correct.
And it's because they also hold themselves to that same standard that we do from our 1,000-foot perspective. So that's totally fine. I can live with that. But like outside of that, I didn't see too much off of the bench that I loved. PJ Washington wasn't fantastic. Foul trouble early, but I got excited a little bit because his first 3-point shot that he took, he made. So I was like, okay, if this is going to be a corner 3 fest, him and Derrick Jones Jr. are going to feast tonight, and I'm okay with that because you're probably going to win most of those games where they are going off from the corners. And I was getting real excited because you've seen that the Pelican series, at least for now, for the Thunder, was a fluke for Josh Giddey because he could not buy a bucket. So I was seeing a lot of good things in the first 10 minutes of the game that I was like, yeah, this might be one of those nights where everything's just humming, even though the Thunder are kind of going point for point with you right now. This might be one of those really good nights. And then in the second half, it all just fell apart.
Josh Giddey and Dante Exum got the same treatment. Left open. I would say Josh a little bit more open. Dante, they were guarding like at the nail, 3-4 feet away. But as you saw, both coaches, they were unplayable in the second half. In a game like this, in a series like this, you can't just have someone out there that's a liability because each team is going to have maybe one defender that's not the greatest, and they're going to stick them on that. Or for Oklahoma City, if I'm being completely frank, they don't have any weak guys out there, any weak defenders, I should say. So now they're double teaming Luka and not having to worry about him kicking to Dante Exum because he's either timid to shoot. He's not making it. I think he's made 1 3 in the playoffs, and that might even be a stretch. Someone can fact check that. But I know he hasn't made it. He shot like 7 or 8. And I feel like for Oklahoma City, did you see how deep they were? I mean, they're bringing in Aaron Wiggins. I know who he is, but for all intents and purposes, who?
Yeah.
Isaiah Joe. I know he's a great 3-point shooter, and I watched the Thunder. But for the casual fan, who? Like, these guys were coming in and hitting 2, 3, 4 threes in a row. You got Jalen Williams, not J-Dub. Jalen Williams, their backup center. He had like 10 in the fourth. Like they were getting contributions from all of their role players in their bench. I believe their bench outscored us 45 to like 23. And do I think that's going to happen every game? No. Do I think their bench is going to always be ready and they're a little bit deeper of a team than us? Yes. You just as the superstars of Luka and Kyrie have to overwhelm it where those bench points don't matter as much. But when Luka and Kyrie are also playing subpar and the Thunder Stars didn't have an amazing game. It wasn't like they both went out for 30 or something. They had an above average game, but their role players and bench players supplemented those points where your role and bench players didn't bring much to the table. I'm expecting something different for game 2. Disappointed in how they lost, but I did expect the loss. Stars, on the other hand, come on, up 3-0.
Yeah, and there's not too much analysis for me to get into with my answer there and the Stars being the most disappointing. You just can't give up that kind of a lead in the playoffs, especially in game 1, just because, I know the man that usually sits in this chair from 7 to 11, Reginald Atatula, would absolutely scream if I said this, but I'm going to say it anyways because he's not here. Momentum is a real thing, and especially in the playoffs, and you can't afford to do that. You just don't have enough time. In the regular season, sure, you can have a bad game. You don't have enough time for a bad time in the playoffs. And that sounds very low-level thinking, but you hear the phrase all the time, this is going to be the one that they're going to talk about if it goes wrong. Like this game for the Stars, game 1 will be the game that everybody talks about if they lose this series. Even if they get blown out 10-1 in one of these games, they're going to say, man, game 1 is where it all fell apart because you can't give up 4 unanswered when you have a 3-0 lead.
And they could have gone up 4-0 early. They had a shot on goal that just kind of was a lazy shot. I think it was either Ben or Sagan. One of them had a really lazy shot, and the netminder for the Avs was able to block it. And next thing you know, it's just we're already up 3-0. It's not the big a deal. Yep, that 4th goal might have helped.
And one more thing on the Mavericks, too. I do, instead of destroying everything, I do want to give some credit on the opposite side. I think they were really well coached in game 1.
Talking about the Mavs?
No, the Thunder. I said on the other side. And that's not a shot at Jason Kidd. I don't think he coached a horrible game by any means.
No, Mark Daigneault went awesome.
I think that OKC has themselves a coach there. And the reason I say that is because you remember the start of the third quarter. The Mavericks cut the deficit to 1 right at the beginning of the start of the third quarter, rather. Oklahoma City calls that timeout. And They made their adjustments. You could probably pinpoint exactly what they did, but they definitely threw out some different looks offensively. And what happens? 19-6 run immediately after. And that had to have been the turning point in that game, because from then on, it didn't even feel relatively competitive to me. So I will say, for all the Mavericks' faults, I do think that OKC had an equal amount of great decision making in that game. And you got to make adjustments in the playoffs in game if you want chances to win these things. And OKC, although they're young and we keep knocking them for lack of experience, they sure play like a veteran team, man. They really do. So,
SGA is older than Luka.
Yes, this is true. And from the 903, if we're going to talk about SGA, not going to win a game when the opposing team shoots 24 free throws in the first half. Can't look over that. And Kyrie even said it himself after the game. He said it took them a minute to figure out the whistle in that game. And when they did, they realized it was going to be a long night.
Yep.
And
this felt like a January game before the officiating changes.
And I'll say it right now. SGA, present day, he gets the 06 Dwayne Wade whistle. And I don't understand why. I don't understand. You got to keep a 3-foot radius from that man if you want to win games. It's the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan, but it's not. It's the Young Guns taking over from 7 to 11 here on The Fan. We are going to be giving you live updates and reactions to some playoff hockey and some playoff basketball as it all starts. They say at 8:30, but it's not going to be 8:30. It's going to be like 8:40, 8:50, whatever it may be. We'll be here nonetheless with you. Coming up on the other side, the Rangers injury bug is unreal. What happened now? Next on The Fan.
You may not think what we say is smart, duh, but it's coming over a smart speaker, so that counts. Just tell that genius speaker, play 105.3 The Fan, presented by Comerica.
Pneumatic freight in South Texas is blowing up, and we want you to join the pack at Sisu Energy. Must have PEC, Safe Land, and A2S certifications. Our drivers at Sisu Energy are grossing over $15,000 each week. Need a trailer? We can help you get one. No down payments, no escrow, lowest insurance cost in the country, and huge fuel discounts through our pilot partnership. Sisu Energy can have you on the road in 3 days from initial application. Visit SISUEnergyLLC.com to apply today. That's SISUEnergyLLC.com to apply today. Now is an excellent time to buy solar. Solar Top Dallas makes rooftop solar installations available to Dallas residents through a group buying program and a partnership with the City of Dallas's Whole Homes Dallas program. Solar panels generate electricity, making you less dependent on
product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For all of our fan contest rules, go to 1053thefan.com/rules.
It's Window Nation's semi-annual sale, and it's a big deal. Right now, get 50% off all windows along with no interest for 5 years. Plus, bonus savings when you schedule a consult today. If your windows leak, get foggy or hot, or you're paying high utility bills, that's a big deal. With Window Nation's semi-annual sale, you can replace your windows and save a big deal too. Schedule a no-obligation in-home estimate now. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Telesystems.
We make sure hackers don't mess with Texas. Telesystems' job is to allow business leaders to sleep better at night knowing that their cybersecurity, networking, and communications stay connected and protected. Visit hackersuck.com to learn more. IT is about trust.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is sponsored by Franklin Franco. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Franco first. 214-817-333-3333. With Franklin Franco, there is never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Franklin Franco, the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Welcome back to the home of your world champion Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. You just heard from James Tritley on the ones and twos, Alec Medford and Blake Elliott.
Yes, Sirski.
The Young Guns taking over on a weekday.
Could we call this the get wrong?
I feel like that would draw people away.
Seems like a shot at some point.
No,
it feels like a backhanded compliment.
It's
or like
not a shot.
name.
We're just not the get right. We don't have Reggie Adesula
I mean,
here. So.
you are usually with Reggie, so it's not totally wrong.
The get partial.
If this is like me and Will, then sure. But like you're actually here a lot. This is my second show in the past like 4 months. So like I guess partially wrong or get partially right. There we go. Get partially right.
What is another word for partially right? Is it other than saying the word partially right? Is there not a word for that?
We'll workshop it.
Well, I'm not smart enough. James, that's your task while you're listening.
I got you.
That's his homework assignment for tonight.
Or get some synonyms in there.
Coming up on the other side, we got a trip around the NFL, the latest news and notes coming your way in about 15 minutes or so. And of course, we're going to be with you live reacting and updating the Stars and Mavs game 2 of the second round for their respective playoff runs. We will be here with you from the 817 The Get Down.
The get sums.
From the 214 slightly.
There we go. I think that's I guess
slightly right.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna call. That's what we're gonna call ourselves tonight. Slightly right.
Relatively.
Relatively right. There we go. That's it. Relatively right for tonight only until 11 o'clock. Okay. Now we can't have as much fun. I'm about to ruin all the fun. The Texas Rangers have an issue, and that issue is injuries.
Yep.
And it feels like that's been an evergreen statement this season, right? It feels like we've been talking about it forever. I mean, you have 3 starters on the IL before you even play a single game as the defending world champs. Yeah, and then Josh Young gets hurt. Corey Seager gets hurt during spring training, albeit they make it in time for opening day. Nathaniel Lowe doesn't, though. Like, it just felt like one of those seasons was brewing where you were going to be shorthanded for a good amount of time, and then yesterday and today were just absolutely brutal in terms of new injuries. Yesterday, we were informed of the news that Dane Dunning goes to the injured list with a shoulder issue, 15-day stint. The plus side of that is that Bruce Bochy said he doesn't think it'll be much longer than the 15-day minimum. So hopefully that ends up being the case, because we also heard that about Cody Bradford. They were very adamant when he went to the injured list with his back issue that it was nothing more than that, and he would just miss a couple of turns in the rotation. We'll be fine. That ended up not being the case because he had a stress fracture of some sort. Not going to be back for a minute. Then we hear also yesterday, Max Scherzer had a setback, and he has been shut down from throwing totally in his rehab assignment. So we don't know what the timeline looks there at all. We don't know when he's going to start to throw again, because he's just been shut down until all aches, pains, discomforts, everything in between are gone. And then today happens. You saw Josh Spores exit the game yesterday in one of the 2 doubleheader games, the second game of those 2 that were played in Oakland yesterday at the Coliseum. Josh Spores ends up leaving the game. He only faced 2 batters pitching in that second game of the doubleheader yesterday. His velocity was down when he issued a 4-pitch walk and then had a 3-1 count on the second batter, got checked by an athletic trainer, and then left the game. And we find out earlier today that Josh Spores was placed on the 15-day injured list for the second time this season because of a right rotator cuff strain.
Ooh, man.
Oh, no! We suck again!
This is true.
The injury... Whew. I mean, me and you, Alec, might have to start pitching. You know what's funny? Before the season, not in a bad way, but Alec correctly predicted, hey, you're going to have some injuries. It just happens in baseball, especially coming off your shortest offseason. You just won the World Series. I like the Michael Lorenzen pickup. I like all these kind of guys in AAA were getting geared up. And in my head, I was like, okay, maybe use 1 or 2 of these guys, just to kind of give them some relief. No, it's been almost every other game. There's a guy going on the 15-day list or the 60-day list. Right now, you have John Gray and Andrew Heaney. Is there any other starters that I'm remembering that aren't on some kind of injury designation? Lorenzen?
Yeah, Lorenzen's one of them. They still have Jack Leiter up officially at the moment.
Yeah.
Jose Urania, but that guy probably needs to get sent down at some point.
He's not injured, but
and he's been bouncing back and forth too. He's been a reliever, but they need him to make spot starts because he has the ability to give you that range. Yeah, like in terms of consistent guys that you were going to rely on going into the season. I mean, Lorenzen, you didn't even have, on the opening day roster, he was very last minute. So I'm glad that CY did make that move, though. Even though it was last minute, man, he knew we needed him. And, it does add a little bit more sting to the whole Jordan Montgomery situation. It does add a little more sting to the Dylan Cease situation. I don't think a lot of people realize how really real that possibility could have been of adding Dylan Cease to this team from the White Sox. The Padres end up kind of coming out of nowhere and getting him. And that's a guy under team control that to this point has been good for the Padres and has been healthy. So all that being said, there have been other options. There were ways to add. There were ways to try to add some depth, and you just didn't have it. And then, of course, people keep on bringing up how fantastic Cole Reagans has been in Kansas City, which he has been awesome and good for him. I mean, you essentially traded him for a World Series if you want to think about it that way, so I'm not too mad about it. But you think about the lack of development overall for starting pitching by the Texas Rangers. And if you want to pivot to that conversation, that's what a lot of the discourse on social media was yesterday in the second game of the doubleheader where Jack Leiter started, and he got knocked around pretty early and pretty often.
Yeah, you got no choice now. You need Leiter to step up to the billing. I mean, this is funny from the 817. Funny to think when they said Lorenzen was close to being ready, that I was thinking in my head, there's no room for him. And I was thinking the same. It's like, now we need you to be the room.
Remember, we did a whole segment the week that he got signed. We were on that weekend. It was you, me, and CA.
Yep.
I remember. I was like, what do you do with him? Yeah. Because he's going on foul territory with AJ Przinsky and Scott Braun.
I'm going to be a starter.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm almost ready to join the rotation. And they're like, oh, so you're going to start? And he's like, yeah. He's like, nobody's told us that. We've asked Boch about it. We've asked CY. And it's just been, yeah, he's going to help us out a lot. We never got a straight answer, but Lorenzen's like, yeah, I'm going to start. And it was like, okay, is that a Cody Bradford? We don't trust you. And then out of nowhere, he tosses 2 gems in a row. And then, of course, he gets hurt. But 2 gems in a row from Cody Bradford. And you're like, okay, well, maybe he's not your quote unquote 5th starter. He's a guy that you trust more than a 5th starter at this point. And then he goes down. So there's been a whole lot of moving pieces, and it expands just past starting pitching as well. We talk about Josh Spores. You can talk about Josh Young. You can talk about, Corey Seager still hasn't exactly looked like himself, even though he's playing most of the games. You're not seeing the same pop that you got from him last year, the same World Series MVP that you got last year. Nathaniel Lowe missed some time. Adolis Garcia looks like there might be something kind of nagging with him. He looks a little slower. He looks a little just kind of like something's missing here lately. And I know that there was a couple games ago, there was a play that some people were kind of pointing at, maybe like a leg was bothering him. And, he's a tough guy. He's not going to want to sit down if he doesn't have to. And he had a shortened off season as well because he was rehabbing an injury. So injuries are just the storyline of it all. And nobody across the league feels bad for the Texas Rangers. Nobody. And nobody should.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, like, for whatever reason, G-Bag was in here watching Yankees and Astros, and the postgame show is still on. I haven't changed the channel yet, but think about the Astros. They literally have an entire starting rotation worth of starting pitchers on the IL right now. Like, there are other teams that are just as beat up, and it's an unfortunate thing, but the Rangers do lead the majors right at this moment with the most players on the injured list. It's by a short margin. I think the Yankees have 12. We have 13 actively on the injured list right now, and the Yankees and a couple other teams have 12. So it's not a huge disparity, but, we do have that unfortunate record right now of being the most beat up team in baseball, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. The pitching injuries, we've talked about it. There's a whole discourse around that conversation right now of, guys are being asked to do too much. They're being asked to throw for velocity rather than anything else. They're gripping the ball too tight, and it's causing all of these things. But I mean, think about how different this offense could look if Josh Young was healthy.
Yep.
We don't really know what that would look like at this given moment. Like, he could be ice cold if he was healthy right now, just like some of your other hitters. I don't know, but at least you have the benefit of the doubt of having a guy that should have been a Gold Glove defender at third this past season. You have that peace of mind there. And then offensively, you've seen him have some pop. You've seen him go on otherworldly stretches.
On a heater.
Exactly. And you've seen good things from him. And you've seen good things from pretty much everybody that's gone down on the injured list so far. And you think about a guy like Josh Sborz, I knew something was up because he just didn't quite look like himself after he came off the IL for the first time this year. And now you see he just didn't have his velocity yesterday. 4-pitch walks to start off his outing. You knew something was up, and instantly they were able to point at the rotator cuff. So there's some major hurdles that need to be cleared in terms of injuries. I do like the Robbie Grossman trade, since we weren't on yesterday to talk about it.
Trade.
That's a solid trade because, one, you're very familiar with them.
Yes.
He was on this team last year.
World Series ring. It's an easy access thing, too.
You don't have to wait until you play the White Sox anymore. He can just come pick it up at his home base now. But not only that, you addressed a need. We suck at hitting lefties right now.
We do.
You know what he did last year? He only obliterated lefties. He was an otherworldly hitter against lefties last year. Against righties, let's not talk about it. But against lefties, oh boy, he was really, really good. And at some points, you were seeing him in the 2 and 3 hole against lefties because he was that consistent against lefty starters. So, that's where my peace of mind right now, to end this tangent. My peace of mind is knowing that Chris Young is not delusional. He's not a we believe in our guys guy. If this persists, where guys cannot stay on the field, they cannot stay on the mound, he's going to make changes. He is going to make additions more specifically. He's going to help out his guys because we've seen it a handful of times this year. We've gotten some really good outings from some pitchers. We've gotten some really good outings from the bullpen. We've gotten some electric days from the offense. This is still a championship caliber team. They are their own worst enemy right now by not being able to have any sort of continuity in terms of the lineup and the rotation that they present on a weekly basis.
With all that said, the Rangers are first in the AL West at 22 and 17.
Yeah.
Mariners a game and a half back. Athletics 4 games back. Angels 7 games back. And those hated Astros 8 games back.
And that's why I'm not sitting here saying the world is over. The season's done. This team sucks. Do they suck at a few things right now? Sure, but that doesn't mean you're a bad team. I mean, I still don't think the Astros are a bad team. And look at their record. Their record, if you were a casual baseball fan, you pick up the paper and you read that and you say, that's a bad team. That is still a team laced with all-stars. That's not a bad team. That's a team that just, one, I don't think their manager is that good. And two, they just haven't played up to their standard. They'll get better. Watch. And me and Broadus were talking about it before Crosstalk. Look, he painted the picture. He's like, it's going to be a Saturday show where it's going to be you and Blake out there at the Globe, and it's going to be a game between the Astros and the Rangers, and the winner will take over first place for the AL West. He was like, it's going to be later in the summer, and we're all going to look dumb for what we said about them early on in the season. I could totally see that happening. And guess what? You played under 40 games this season. You know, there's not a lot that you can really freak out over.
There's no reason to jump off a cliff. I think everybody on Twitter, we've seen it, that they're jumping off a cliff right now. And I understand as a Rangers fan, but at the same time, just understand that we are so short into this season, and there's so much that can happen, not only for the Rangers, but the entire league. I mean, all these injuries, they're not only affecting us. You said it earlier, Alec, and I think we saw a lot of, it wasn't you being negative. I'll go back to this. It's not you being negative here. It's you being real and telling people this is what's happening. This is honestly what the Rangers are dealing with. And at some point, you have to look at a lot of the bright side of it. And fans right now, I think they just want to, like I said, throw themselves off a cliff.
See, from the 940, Rangers will be fine. From the 817, better that they're hurt now than waiting until early September. Great.
The Tolos get it.
Yeah. But from the 940, what about Kumar Rocker? He's also hurt. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery, but he's going to factor into the future for sure.
I don't think we'll see him till next year. Maybe September. Maybe.
Yeah. From the 817, good news, y'all. Houston sucks. So some good pitchers available to take soon. Yeah. I mean, Ken Rosenthal said it, I think, last week that the Astros might be surprise sellers if things keep going this way. Obviously, they won't give us any of them, but still, some of their better players might leave the division soon. That would be pretty nice. So there's your Rangers conversation. That isn't a great one, but it's not the end of the world. Things will be okay. Guys are going to get healthy again, and we're going to be fine. I'm excited, for Tyler Mahle. I think he's going to be really good when he gets healthy.
Yep.
Coming up next, here on 105.3 The Fan, we are going to take a trip around the NFL. We'll do that next here on the Get Right.
Coming up Friday morning on Sean and RJ, how did the Stars and Mavs do in Game 2? Both looking to pull even in their series. A Dirks Bentley ticket giveaway in the Expressway. And then Keith Law, baseball analyst at 9:20. It's a Friday morning of The Fan.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives.
Uber Eats has low fee products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before.
Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel.
Oh, is that your name?
No, I mean like your name.
No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen.
Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut.
But that's hair on your head.
I'm not saying this is your hair.
Okay, freaking me out a little bit.
little bedroom that never used to get a signal, or even from the attic if you want. With straightforward pricing, there's no data caps and no price increases at 12 months, so you won't have to switch providers every year to get the best deal. Don't settle for spotty internet. Live like a gigillionaire. Get AT&T Fiber with All-Fi now and unlock new possibilities for your home. Limited availability. Go to att.com/Allfi to check eligibility.
This segment on 105 Through the Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet and Grapevine, they're the #1 Chevy dealer in the world. More Silverados than anyone else. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads based on new Chevy registrations 2023.
About to take a trip around the NFL here on the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan. But it's not the Get Right. It's the Young Guns, Alec Medford and Blake Elliott.
The Get Semi-Right.
The Get Kinda Right. The Get Somewhat Right. The Get Similar. Whatever you want to call it.
Spitting out those synonyms right now.
I'm working on it, man. If you didn't know, I scored well on the SAT. So
I saw one earlier that was a long, it looked like an SAT word.
I should probably be better at this, but I'm not.
Fragmentarily. How about that one?
No.
Fragmentarily right.
Now Reggie's back on the show.
Yeah, Reggie is automatically back on the show. There's your word of the day, fragmentarily. That's a wonderful word. We are live on Twitch and YouTube, twitch.tv/DallasFanCam, 105 Through the Fan on YouTube. The Frankel and Frankel Injury Attorneys text line is 877-881-1053 to get involved in any of our conversations. Coming up on the other side, are the Mavs cooked without a healthy Luka Doncic? We'll talk about that in about 13 minutes or so. And Blake, that was a masterclass in broadcast. You know why? That was called vamping because my iPad completely crashed. So I was waiting for the internet to boot back up so we could take a trip around the NFL.
I love that.
Yeah, so there you go. Now I can actually read stuff for you. And I'm excited to do so. Very excited. A few different directions we can go here, and we will start one with a trade that was made today that everybody saw coming. Not. The Rams send a very fun player in Ben Skoranek to the Houston Texans in a last-minute trade. The reports were out that Skoranek was going to get cut, but the Texans, just as they did with Joe Mixon and the Bengals, just swooped in last second and said, hey, how about a pick swap for the player? You get something out of it. They swap 2025 fifth and, I think it was 6th and 7th rounders, I do believe, for the shifty special teamer, wide receiver, and a guy that I feel like the Texans could find a couple of uses for. Maybe with the new kickoff rules, you could see him get some run. But the Texans love doing that, just kind of scooping up guys that are set to hit the open market and say, nope, we're not going to give you a choice because we like the player and we do not value late-round picks as, you probably shouldn't. So you get an NFL-ready player now for a pick swap. I think that's a pretty good deal.
They got a loaded receiver core now. Ben Skoranek is obviously going to compete for wide receiver 1 over there in Houston with the likes of Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell and Nico Collins. Jokes, of course. And I feel like they got one more. And John Mechie. They got a 5-6 man.
Hey, you're forgetting one, too.
Who am I forgetting?
Cowboys legend, Noah Brown.
And how did I forget Noah Brown? They have got how many receivers? They feel like me on Madden. They're like, 6, 7 receivers. We're running spread offense, 5 receivers at a time.
They have all of the receivers. But yeah, he has 12 starts in 3 seasons. He's still a young player, but has plenty of experience. Pretty good deal for the Texans there, as he was expected to get just outright waived, I do believe. So there you have it. The Giants have signed veteran wide receiver Allen Robinson, most recently of the Steelers. His fall off in the NFL needs to be studied at Harvard because he went from one of the most intriguing receivers in the game to nobody even knows where he plays anymore.
Yeah, I was playing, my friend is a huge Bears fan. We're playing Madden on his old system. He's got Madden maybe 19 or 20. Plays with the Bears, and Lowe's. I said, why is there a star on this receiver for the Bears? It's not DJ Moore. And I'm like, it's Allen freaking Robinson, 92 overall superstar. I'm like, that feels like a decade ago when he was good, but it wasn't that long ago when Allen Robinson was a premier receiver in this league. And like you said, the fall off, shout out to J. Cole, has been insane.
It has been insane, but good for him, and he gets to lose to the Cowboys twice this year on that 1-year deal. Have fun trying to catch passes from Daniel Jones or Drew Lock.
I give me Drew Lock. Got a little more swag at least.
Yeah, at least he does have the swag factor, and I do love Drew Lock personally.
Yep.
I always root for him, even if he is in the division. I'm still going to root for him because he's just a likable dude.
Big fan.
Josina Anderson. I don't know where she is anymore, but she just left her job at CBS, so I'm just going to say NFL insider, Josina Anderson. Hopefully she picks up a new job soon so I can attribute her work to something. She tweeted earlier that she spoke to Stephon Gilmore, former Cowboy and current free agent. And the veteran corner said, quote, "I'm still focused on playing, but it has to be the right opportunity. I feel like it's the age thing with some of these teams. If I was 28, I would already have been signed by now. At the same time, I know the value I still bring. If you watch the tape, I feel like I've played well the last 2 years, and I literally almost played every snap this past season. So I'm staying patient while watching my son, who's a wide receiver and cornerback, lock up people on the field with his defensive back skills too." End quote. So, and she also listed a couple of teams that will be in the running or are in the running for Gilmore. The Colts, the Patriots, the Bills, the Panthers, and the Cowboys.
So former teams and teams with money.
Yes. Pretty much. Yeah, veteran guys usually like that on the wrong side of 30. It's going to be a retread situation, like on the veteran minimum or close to it. Old teams are going to be like, "Hey, we miss you, bud. We'd like to have you back for nostalgia." And then the contending teams that do kind of wake up and say, "That's still a good player.
Yep.
We got some space to work with. Why not?" And the Bills just, cleared their entire defense out pretty much and cut all of them.
That might be an interesting ad, I might say.
Yeah, Mr. Resident Bills fan on the 1s and 2s. I totally forgot about that. So,
do y'all have anybody on defense? Y'all let go of literally everyone.
Yeah, we're struggling.
You got Von Miller, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Way to slow clap that one in, Blake.
Yeah, he's going to be great for all 4 games he plays.
You're giving him a lot of credit at 4.
See, that's how you know things are rough. Elsewhere around the NFL, this is a fun story. 2 top NFL draft picks made a possibly illegal bet with each other. Ahead of the draft. During a recent interview on All Facts, No Breaks, a podcast, Jaden Daniels, the now Washington Commanders quarterback, he revealed that he made a huge bet with his former LSU teammate Malik Neighbors over who's going to win NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, him or Malik Neighbors. And they put $10,000 in cash on the line. And you say friendly bet in cash, whatever. It's not a sportsbook. That's got to be fine, right? Well, as recently as the 2022 gambling policy, it says that this includes, like all sports bets and whatnot, this includes commercial gambling, as well as private wagers between teammates, family and friends, or others are all banned.
That's kind of an interesting nod right there. So if once you're in the league, you can no longer bet on anything, whether that's your friend betting on who you think can finish food faster or...
Well, no, not that. Okay. This is about like on the NFL.
Field. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
They could go run a 40 against each other and put money on it. That's fine.
Okay.
Like, this is an NFL award that is based on your presentation, based on your season, based on
I guess other people are betting on it too.
Exactly.
Like who's gonna win? So if they're like, "Oh well, maybe he let Jaden win so he could get the 10,000," and now the real. Not that I think they would do that because obviously they both want to win and get that. I'm sure there's money tied to it.
And then imagine, let's say the Commanders lock up a wild card spot this year. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it makes week 18. There's no reason for them to play their starters. But Jaden Daniels says, Malik's having a little bit better of a year than me. I'm going to go play. And he goes out there and plays, and then he throws for 450 yards in a game that none of his starters played with him. And then the voters are like, "Oh yeah, Jaden Daniels is winning this thing." Yeah. And then he wins that bet just because he said, "You know what? I'm going to play."
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I thought that was an interesting note because you can't, as long as it's like it pertains to on-field accomplishments, even if it's a friendly wager with your friend, you cannot bet on the NFL.
You said they revealed it on like a podcast, correct?
Yeah, it was Malik Neighbors who initially revealed it on a different podcast. And it was funny when it was brought up on this podcast to Jaden Daniels. He literally said he wasn't supposed to talk about that. So
they are going to get in trouble by the league, or is this kind of like a slap on the wrist?
Well, by the rules, they should.
Okay, but nothing's happened yet.
The NFL hasn't said anything. They haven't done anything.
Are we being the snitches right now?
No, CBS Sports is.
We're just reporting the snitch.
Yeah, I'm just recirculating. That's all I'm doing. I'm spreading the knowledge. And CBS Sports also, now that I mention it, they are reporting that, we were talking about it earlier, the roast of Tom Brady.
Yep.
You know how it basically at a lot of points turned into the roast of Giselle?
Correct.
CBS Sports is reporting that Tom Brady apparently did reach out to Giselle and apologize.
Well, you want me to hit you with something crazy real quick, Alec? If I'm Giselle, I'm not tuning in to the roast of Tom Brady because I know half the stuff is going to be about me. Crazy thought. If I'm the ex-wife, I'm probably not tuning into the roast or going on Twitter to hear about it.
Well, yeah, it's going to get to her either way. That's the thing. Like, friends will tell her about it too. If she stays off of social media, then someone, at her next social event is going to be like, so what did you think about the joke where they said, and they just recite the joke right to her. And she's like,
well,
didn't want to know about that.
Alec, I got another crazy one for you. Actions have consequences.
I mean, I'm not defending her. I'm just saying it was going to get to her either way. Even if she got rid of her phone,
like
stayed
Tom
off
did
the
at the
internet.
end.
Exactly, yeah. But hey, at least she got her karate lessons. That's your trip around the NFL here with the Get Right, even though it's not the Get Right.
The Get Semi.
I don't like that one. That just doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound good.
Yeah, at all. Thank you, James.
Questionable.
James is my knight in shining armor, and I'm going to need it. Coming up next here on 105.3 The Fan, are the Mavs cooked without a healthy Luka Doncic? We'll talk about that a little bit next here on the Get Right.
The Fan is on YouTube, Twitch, smart speakers, or any mobile device on our Odyssey app, presented by Comerica. Turn it on, leave it on America's fastest growing sports station, thanks to you.
Guess St. Paul and the Broken Bones. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Choctaw Casino Durant. His new album, JPEG Raw, available March 22nd.
Tired of OTR regional freight? Not making enough money for your work? Sisu Energy has immediate openings for power-only freight drivers throughout West Texas servicing the oil and gas industry. And our drivers are grossing over $15,000 per week. Why Sisu Energy? Sisu provides the trailer. No down payment, no escrow, no experience in oil gas. No problem. Lowest insurance cost in the industry. Huge fuel discounts. Visit SISUenergyLLC.com to join now. Have your own bottom drop trailer? Sisu Energy is paying 90% of gross revenue for folks with their own trailer. Make your pay reflect your effort. Visit SISUenergyLLC.com.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1 Dallas Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
An Odyssey sports station. It's time for The Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Indeed, it is time for the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. Welcome on into hour number 2. My name is Alec Medford. His name is Blake Elliott.
Yes, Sirski.
So you know it's not the Get Right. It's the Young Guns taking over here on 105.3 The Fan. And we'll be back this weekend where we usually are.
Yep.
Saturday and Sunday. And got a couple of later starts because they're playing in Colorado. So
Colorado.
Yeah, we'll be on a little bit later on Saturday, and we will be staying on a little bit later on Saturday, and hope you hang out with us then as well. We are live on Twitch and YouTube, twitch.tv/DallasFanCam, 105.3 The Fan on YouTube until 11 o'clock today. The Frankel and Frankel Injury Attorneys text line is 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053 to get involved in any and all of our conversations. And as you well know, unless you were living under a rock the past few days, we got double barrel playoff action tonight.
It's getting close.
Within the next hour, we will have the puck dropping between the Avalanche and your Dallas Stars at the AAC. And in OKC, the Thunder and the Mavs, both playing game 2s of the second round of the playoffs in the Western Conference brackets, both down 1-0 in their series. So everything rhymes, and not in good ways as it stands right now. But the good thing for you is if you're out and about, you're too busy to sit down in front of a TV and watch these games, we're going to be here with you to give you these live updates and reactions. You're not going to get this kind of reaction anywhere else from anybody else.
Oh,
so
no.
that's why you turn it on, leave it on. And guess what? I made a deal with the Twitch chat for Tuesday's Mavs game.
No Jonte.
And I'm going to make another deal. Yeah, I'm not a betting man. I'm just making a deal. I'm going to make the same deal today. When we get to the final call around 10:40 or so tonight, if the Mavs are up by double digits, the shirt is coming off.
I'll match you.
Okay, there we go.
If we're up by double digits,
if we're up by double digits at that point, and I think when we hit the final call, when it was me and CA on Tuesday, there was about 5 minutes left in the fourth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the Young Guns After Dark tonight.
Young Guns
Yeah.
After Dark. Good thing
I
I've
mean,
been hitting chest. Come on, man.
I wish this game was starting at like 7 because then we could have done like no shirt 9, go full KNC mode.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been awesome. But, I digress, I guess.
Man, people are going to flood into the Twitch and YouTube. We do that, man. We're going to have...
Hey, Carter's going to love us because he's going to get his clip for the night.
Yeah.
And speaking of Carter Freeman, he's going to join us live from Oklahoma City. He's going to be at the game at halftime. He's going to call in and talk some Mavs basketball with us. Let us know the feel, because I really want to know from someone firsthand what that vibe is like in OKC, because on TV it looks and feels like a college basketball game environment.
Can I be honest, Alec? I'm a little sad. Oklahoma City fans with their t-shirts, man, they killed it. I got to give it to them.
They did. And you know what I saw?
They killed it.
You know what I saw in the game?
Huh.
I saw someone made a big shot. One of their players made a deep three. Don't remember who. And the camera pans to the crowd. And I see a dude wearing the Thunder t-shirt. And then he had the gold-trimmed Rangers World Series hat on.
I did see
and
that.
I was like, look, I understand it because obviously that's the closest major league team.
Yeah.
But God, I hated that so much. That made me so mad.
And also...
I want to be just as happy as that guy was in the moment.
Speaking of fan interactions, there was early in the game a ball rolled over to a fan. And a fan, instead of giving the ball back to Luka, where Luka was running from, he decided to chunk it down the court. Luka and Kyrie were not too happy with them. He almost got ejected out of the game. He kind of put it on Twitter. He kind of had his little Twitter moment of, I'm the best Oklahoma fan. The Mavs are soft. Luka and Kyrie were crying. So, I hope maybe just a little. I don't think they need motivation. I just hope it's a little extra. And I think when you see Luka and Kyrie score, they might be looking courtside at one particular fan and let them have it.
There's a whole lot of different storylines for this one, and I just want it to get underway. I'm just excited for it at this point, and I'm excited to either be really excited at the end of the night or thoroughly disappointed again. That's just the love of the game. But I named this segment, "Are the Mavs cooked without a healthy Luka Doncic?" for a reason. That wasn't just the low-hanging fruit of, are they done? Is the series over? No, I just thought a really interesting point was made yesterday by Tim Legler.
Yep.
And we got the sound from it. And he basically said if Luka's cooked, then the Mavs are cooked, and Luka looks cooked.
Listen, the reason I thought Dallas could win this series, it completely hinges on Luka Doncic. And he looks cooked. He looks cooked. He's got no lift. His three-point shot, which is, I think for the most part, he doesn't take contested shots because of his size, his lean back, his ability to get separation. These aren't really contested shots. He's got no lift. All of these shots are hitting front rim. And if he's not making perimeter shots at a high rate, Dallas is cooked in this series. They're not going to have enough. So I'm very concerned. And his body language when he came out of the game, he looked like he was very dispirited by what's going on and what he is feeling. Bad sign for the Mavericks.
Bad sign indeed. And I thought it was a great point made by Tim Legler because, it's obvious that the Mavs go the way Luka goes, and they've said it all the time. But, I don't think people realize how much to a high extent that is. And Corey was kind of breaking it down really good on KNC earlier today. Because, I Tolo, as I always do. And Corey was mentioning, and I saw this video, but I never really thought too much of it. But it was when the Mavs were getting on the plane to go to OKC. The social team was standing there recording, what's your message to the fans before you get on the plane? And it was just a whole lot of let's go, let's keep going, let's win, blah, blah, blah.
Lock in.
All this, lock in, baby, whatever. But then Luka, he walks up and he says something to the same effect, let's go, baby, or whatever it was. But J. Kidd was right behind him, and he said whatever he said.
Yep.
And kept walking. This team, in more ways than one, the heartbeat, the soul, the energy of this team comes from Luka Doncic. And as much as we want to think about how deep this team is now comparative to last year, comparing it to their last playoff run, comparing it to their, second most recent playoff run, comparing it to really any of their playoff runs since 2011, you talk about how deep this Mavs team is now. But no matter the depth and no matter the amount of qualified and consistent and reliable ball handlers, this team still runs through 77.
Yep.
It still works around him. It still is built for him to succeed. When his shot is not working, and Legler kind of broke it down a little more specific, saying he's got no lift on his shot, and he was all of his misses are front of the rim. You can tell that something physically, which we know it's his knee, but he was there is a physical element to his game right now that is just not working, and it's not as effective. And you usually see that on a lot of his contested threes. It's him getting a lot more of an arc on his shots. If you want to get real specific, it seems like a lot of his shots, it's not Reggie Bullock type, but you're seeing a lot more line drive from him because he's just not able to get that extension by pushing off of his leg that he wants to get. And if that contested three ball, if that step back three, if any of his jump shot is not 100% available to him throughout this series, then things probably just aren't going to look the same. Hence why he's saying the Mavs could be cooked if he doesn't get past it.
Yeah, so I'm going to use a car analogy that most people will be able to recognize. Back in high school, I had a 2014 Dodge Challenger.
Whoa.
And it was nice. It had a great engine and didn't have all the nice exterior parts and cool mufflers and headlights and different colors and all these extra accessories, but it got the job done.
Yeah.
It had a nice engine, being Luka. And now I've gotten a little bit nicer of a car, and it's got some of the nice accessories and the tail lights and all the fun stuff. We got the PJ Washingtons and we got the Josh Greens and the Derek Lively's and the extra parts. But my engine right now needs an oil change. And that's how I feel like it is with Luka. You can have all the extra nice parts, and when the engine's running, wow, this is one of the nicest cars you've seen, and it's got all the things running. But when your oil, when it's low, that engine is not going to run as well. And the engine being Luka and the car being the team, I just feel like right now, it doesn't matter how good the exterior parts are right now. The heart of the team, the sole creator, the guy who's making everything work is obviously at like 50, 60%. And we kind of touched on it in the first segment. When Luka, he is probably the best first quarter player we may have ever seen in our life. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it feels like every first quarter for the most part in regular season, and in that first series against the Clippers, he was scoring like 10, 12 points every first quarter, which some guys don't score for the whole game, being a role player or whatnot. Scores that in the first quarter with ease, in his sleep. When he is not getting that, now the Mavs are like, okay, well, we got to make up those points elsewhere. And what is Kyrie not known for? Getting off in the first quarter. So now he's pressing. Like, I know Luka's hurt. I got to go score. And now he's turning the ball over in situations he's not used to being. And now we're seeing Daniel Gafford. I know we're usually up by 5 or 6 now, but we're down 4. I have to score right here. I have to score, and they're rushing. So Luka being behind the 8 ball makes everyone else feel like they have to press more. And you see the result that happened last game. It wasn't a great team effort from the Mavs. Do I think Luka has to score 50 for the Mavs to win a playoff game? No. But I think Luka has to be himself and be complimentary so that other guys can feed off of him. And when he is not being what we're used to seeing, all those other guys start playing uncharacteristically. And I think if Luka scores 35, 30, we'll be fine. And I know people in the media and fans love this. Well, Kyrie needs to just run the team and be the point guard, and Dante Exum or someone, Tim Hardaway Jr. And I'm like, guys, if you've been watching this team, it runs through Luka. I don't care what you feel like should happen. They're not going to change and scrap their entire game plan in round 2 of the playoffs and be like, well, Luka's a little injured. Josh Green, you're the point guard now. Kyrie, you're the point guard. Yes, can they relieve the stress by not turning the ball over and giving less chances to Oklahoma City? Of course. But Luka is still going to be the point guard when he's out on the court. Other guys might have to be back cutting more or setting more screens or setting more DHO, like doing more stuff, but they're not going to change their entire game plan just because of this guy. If he was that hurt, he wouldn't play. We saw that with Kawhi Leonard. He was that hurt, he didn't play.
Yeah.
I do not think the Mavs are just worse because Luka's on the floor. He's still giving you a good amount of offensive and I think defensive. It's not like he's still a cone on their defense. He's trying. He's getting in a defensive stance. I think he's still top 5 in deflections throughout the whole season. He's still doing his thing. Obviously, he's not to the 35, 40-point games we're used to in the playoffs, and we may not see that offensive outburst. I still think he is the leader on court for this team as well as Kyrie, and setting the tone and kind of calming the guys down, because as much as I love Kyrie, and y'all know I love Kai, he is better as a 2, and his best moments have been feeding off a guy like a Luka, like a LeBron. So as soon as you take him off the court, you kind of saw what happened. So I think they both play really well off each other. I'm expecting a Luka comeback game, but like Tim Legler said, like Alex said, the lift is not there on the shot, which makes the drive even harder, which makes the passes less open. So it's all a process. Hopefully he can get a little more rest and look better for game 2.
I got to give you some flowers because that car analogy was actually fantastic.
Thank you.
And I think there's no other way to look at it because for obvious reasons. I mean, we've seen it, the body of work for years now with Luka, that everything runs through him. And that's what it all comes down to here. As much as you really want to believe that Kyrie Irving could take over the game in that respect, it's not going to happen. And especially in the playoffs, like these teams have one goal in mind. And it might sound dumb on paper because the Mavs are deeper than they were the last time they were in this spot. But their one goal is to stop Luka Doncic. If they can get enough bodies in front of him, if they can force him to make some of those bad reads that he made in game 1, to turn the ball over, then they're going to win. It's an easy recipe for success, and you just pile that on top of the fact that he's not healthy right now. You're going to see bad decisions. You're going to see bad reads. You're going to see, as you mentioned, other guys feeling the need to press for him because of him. That's just not an overall recipe for success in any kind of stretch of a postseason run, especially once you get deeper into the postseason and against a team that, quite simply is healthier and faster and more energetic than you.
I mean, they haven't been hurt all year. Oklahoma City has the most minutes with a 5 than anyone in the NBA. Every single team in the NBA, they have the most cohesive 5 unit. They have played, I think, over 1,700 possessions together. The Mavs 5 trade deadlines played 300 possessions with each other. That is 1,400 more times Oklahoma City has gone up and down with their starting 5. They are more cohesive. They are deeper. That does not mean that they're just going to automatically win the series. That does not mean Dallas doesn't have a chance. It just means you cannot give them extra opportunities. Like you mentioned, you cannot be turning the ball over when you're already behind the 8 ball. You have to kind of play perfect basketball. You have to make the right coaching adjustments. You have to, when you throw it into the low post, Gafford and Lively have to dunk on Gordon Hayward or Jay Will or whoever's down there. You can't turn the ball over right there. You don't have much room for error where Oklahoma City can miss a shot, bring in a bench guy and hit 3 threes in a row, or get a foul call, or play really hard defense and get a steal. Like they are able to make up for their errors, whereas the Mavs are hobbled, maybe not as deep as Oklahoma City, a little tired. They have to clean it up a little bit more than Oklahoma City has to clean it up.
Tip-off between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Dallas Mavericks is just over 15 minutes away. So don't go anywhere. You turn it on and leave it on for a reason. From the 512, dang, Blake got that fan money upgrading from a 2014 Challenger. Let me tell you, that is not how that works.
Yeah, it was the year before.
Yeah, because trust me, I went from a 2014 Camaro to a Chevy Cruze. So, part of that is I thought I was going to end up going to Texas Tech, which I don't know why I ever considered that, but I thought I was going to need a more gas-friendly car, and that ended up not happening, and I'm still salty to this day that I sold that car because it was a gorgeous car, and yeah.
You're a
we've all
gorgeous
been
car.
there, though. I think we've all been there. I went Challenger just like Blake, but I went to Toyota Camry.
Yeah, so you understand. We were talking about the
Completely.
fall off earlier.
Yeah.
No J. Cole. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm hoping that one day soon that will change. But, I don't got big boy money yet.
We're all going to be driving Lambos one day because of the Get Semi right.
Stop. No. I think that Lamborghinis around Dallas have a bad reputation now. Thank you, Rishi Rice. Yeah, so I'm going to stay away from the Lambos because I don't want the cops on 75 looking at me weird. Coming up next, here on the Get Right with the Young Guns, Alec Medford and Blake Elliott. We're going to take a trip around the association. Frank Vogel, we all saw it coming. What happened to Jamal Murray and Pat Bev for their dumb decisions? We'll talk about it next on The Fan.
Through your phone, smart speaker, or more, name your device. The Odyssey app is there for you, thanks to our friends at Comerica.
What's up, Tolos? Bobby Belt here for my friends at Kissable Dental. Are you ready to be kissable this summer? At Kissable Dental, they understand that life gets hectic, especially with summer just around the corner. That's why now is the perfect time to schedule your dental cleaning. Are you worried about the cost? Don't be. Kissable accepts all major insurance.
think it's true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Was it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Possible and try to keep some of his staples. So made 840 one of those real open-ended segments. What is something you didn't respect or appreciate enough until you became an adult?
Yep.
We're going to talk about that here in about 15 minutes because I have a piece of audio that's going to back up my my decision there. So that will be in a matter of 15 minutes. Also in a matter of 15 minutes, I hope, is going to be one, none, or maybe both of the DFW playoff games getting underway. The Stars and the Avalanche at the AAC, right down the street from where we are currently broadcasting. And then in OKC, just a few hours away, you will have the Mavs and the Thunder. So those games should be getting started in the matter of minutes. We will keep you up to date on all things Stars and Mavs. Don't go anywhere. You turn it on and leave it on for that very reason. But let's take a trip around the association because there are some other moving pieces in the NBA, and we will start with probably the biggest news that we all saw coming, I think. The Suns have fired Frank Vogel, their head coach, after one season, after a first-round playoff exit. Phoenix's season, which was just riddled with struggles of health and consistency and everything in between, that season ended on April 28th with a first-round playoff sweep to the Minnesota Timberwolves after the Suns went 49-33 in the regular season. Suns general manager James Jones saying, quote, "After a thoughtful review of the season, we concluded that we needed a different head coach for our team," end quote. Suns owner Matt Ishbia hired Frank Vogel last June on a 5-year, $31 million deal to replace Monty Williams after Phoenix lost to the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference semifinals. And Vogel's first year was not without heightened expectations as the team entered its first full season with Kevin Durant flanked by all-star teammates Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. And Obviously, Vogel most recently was with the LA Lakers, with whom he won a title in 2020. Some might call it a Mickey Mouse ring, if you will. He was fired in 2022 after failing to make the playoffs, and then previously coached the Orlando Magic and the Indiana Pacers. So,
Orlando Magic.
Frank Vogel, we all saw it coming. Matt Ishbia put you in a horrible situation. James Jones put you in a horrible situation. I feel bad for the man. I really do.
Yeah, feel bad for him, but we saw this as soon as the series ended. There was a bunch of pieces. I think it was Shams that dropped an article kind of about how all the players felt about Mr. Vogel. Kevin Durant saying that he didn't like the way the offense was being ran, felt like he was standing around too much. We heard Booker and Beal giving their disdain for him. No one really backed him. I thought maybe, and it was not highlighted. I was texting my friend about this. Did you see the last game? They're losing. Bradley Beal gets checked out of the game. Frank Vogel has his hand out to kind of give his player a high five, and Bradley Beal completely knocks his hand off. Did you see that? I'll show you after the break, but pretty much he's like leaving to come out the game, and usually the coach, hey, good job, give their hand out. He literally hits his hand out of his way and then runs to the bench. Like, they didn't respect him. They didn't believe what he had to say. They talked about it multiple times. Him screaming felt out of character. So it's a players' league. You want to keep Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, or one of the two, or all three, or whatever it may be. We don't want Vogel as our coach. And you're going to stick with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, or Frank Vogel, whom none of the players respect. Obviously, it's going to go the other way. Players run the league. Kevin Durant's either going to stay or leave, but he obviously has to say so on what he thinks should be done. Frank Vogel, you're looking for a job. Indeed, ZipRecruiter, both good places to find one.
Ouch. LinkedIn is also available as well.
I wouldn't put the Suns on your resume.
Yeah, I would not either. But I did see Adrian Wojnarowski on the flip side of the NBA Insiders. He did say that the very clear front runner now for the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns is Mike Budenholzer, the former Milwaukee Bucks head coach.
I think the Lakers are going to be interested in him as well. I think he's probably at the top of the list. The established guy, obviously championship caliber guy with the Bucks, been there. I think the Lakers and the Suns would be very much interested. You think JJ Redick gets into it? Do you think that's all hype, Alec? How do you feel about that? Him getting some coaching.
No.
Okay.
Because Woj is very specific with his wording, and his reporting was Budenholzer is the Suns' target, and talks are expected to move quickly.
Okay. Well,
so this is one of those where Woj is saying, I'm not telling you it's happening, but it's happening.
Yeah.
So as much as it makes sense what you're saying, LA is going to miss out on Budenholzer, and I do think that JJ Redick is probably quickly going to become the favorite in LA. And for all intents and purposes, I hope he does land that job.
It's a lot of pressure, man, on JJ. Never coached before, jumper. It's kind of like Steve Nash going to Brooklyn, remember?
Yeah, and it is a lot of pressure, and especially because the shortest leash for head coaches probably does exist in LA.
Yeah,
and
especially with LeBron, end of his career.
Yes, and that could kill a friendship pretty quickly if things go wrong there, and it will kill a pretty great podcast.
Yeah, that pod. I'm assuming the pod's done, right? If he gets hired, are they going to be talking about? Yeah, man.
They're literally on the team charter plane. Everybody's asleep at 2 a.m. So
I mean, Rui Hachimura, he's got to knock down that shot, right? I mean, he's terrible.
Just talking crap about their teammates behind their back, like, or I shouldn't even say teammates, about JJ's players and Braun's teammates. That's going to be a really interesting dynamic, and that's why I want it to happen, just because I want to see how it does work and how it does end. Do I think they win a ring? Probably not, but I mean, I just want JJ Redick back in the game, and I think as a coach is going to be wonderful, because I think his intellectual understanding of the game and his really precise knowledge of specific in-game situations is going to be very valuable to whoever does acquire him as their next head coach.
Can I give a quick score update and then we'll move on to the other players?
No.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Are you going to talk about the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers? Because that's what I had queued up next.
Go ahead. Cue it up, brother.
On the same wavelength. 118-94. That sounds like the score you would expect in a game with the Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers after game one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if I told you the Cavs are the one that scored 118 and won this game? Yeah, game 2. The series is now split at a game apiece, 118-94. The Cavs over the Celtics. This is not what I expected, but as you pointed out earlier during the break, you were like, hey, this happens to Boston in like every series.
Yeah.
They have that one game that they just don't show up. It happened with the Heat, and it's happening here. But interesting game nonetheless. Donovan Mitchell leading the Cavs with 29 points in this game. For the Celtics, just not much going. Jaylen Brown had a relatively quiet night. Jason Tatum led Boston with 25.
Their playmaker didn't step up. Derek White, only 10 points. He's been their second best player the whole playoffs.
Yeah, and the stat that stands out for me is that Cleveland shot 54% from the field.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
They were pretty good just overall offensively. They were good running the boards as well. But from 3-point, this is the discrepancy. 46% for the Cavs, 22% for Boston. Just none of their shots going down.
Magnets.
Yeah, and it is funny that even with a bad 3-point shooting night, they almost scored 100 as well. So that just shows you that Boston is pretty good. But yeah, didn't expect this to be the score that I was giving you.
Shout out Donovan Mitchell, man. He always has one game he goes crazy. Usually it's later in the series, but maybe they can make the series interesting, man. Who knows? Who knows?
Seeing if that game happens earlier in the series like it did tonight, that actually gives them a chance.
Yep.
And I'm just a Celtics, I don't want to say hater, just a non-believer. Yeah. I think they're frauds, and I say that respectfully. I don't hate that team. I think that's an all-star team. I haven't seen anything from them with this core group that they've had for a few years now. They haven't done anything in the postseason, so I have no reason to believe in them right now because I've had no reason to believe in them in the past.
Okay, you said haven't done anything in the postseason. That reminds me of another guy. He's out in Denver. He had 2-game winners, and everyone praised him for being a playoff riser. But no, we actually watch basketball around here, Alec, and this guy's been one of the worst playoff performers in this playoff so far. Jamal Murray.
Certified ball knowers here on the Get Right or whatever you're calling us tonight. Yes, Jamal Murray was under a lot of spotlight a couple days ago because he was seen from the bench throwing what looked like a heat pack towards a ref, players, whatever it may be, towards the court. And everybody knew right off the rip that, okay, he's going to get in trouble for that. Well, he doesn't get suspended at all for this, but he does get a $100,000 fine for throwing something at the players or refs or whatever.
Sure.
So, and then he was under a lot of fire afterwards for how 2 days later, how he approached that question when he was asked about it. He almost seemed like surprised that he was getting asked about it and like he didn't need to talk about it. So I present to you Mike Greenberg of ESPN with the complete right take on this situation.
That response from Jamal Murray is one of the weakest things I've ever seen in my 35 years covering sports. What he did was practically unprecedented in NBA history, and to pretend that it was ridiculous that he was even being asked about it 2 days later is pathetic. This has nothing to do with playing a bad game. Great players have had bad games, and if you get frustrated and you lose your cool, you get frustrated and lose your cool. And you know what you do afterwards? You say, hey, I was frustrated, I lost my cool, I shouldn't have done that, and I won't do it again. And then everyone moves on. But when you behave that way, when you don't talk about it afterwards, and then the first time anyone has a chance to ask you about it, you react to it in that way, there's nothing else that can be said except it's bordering on pathetic. You know when you find out what people are really made of? You don't find out what they're made of when they're sweeping a team that came in out of the play-in in the Western Conference Finals. You don't find out what they're made of when they're beating in 5 a team that came out of the play-in in the NBA Finals. You find out what they're made of when they're getting their butts kicked like they are right now. And that's what Jamal Murray is showing us there. He's got to come out and say, hey, I should not have done that. I realize it now. I feel bad that I did it, and I'm sorry. The unwillingness to say that speaks volumes. The things he didn't say were much louder than the things.
I completely agree. I think it was childish. You're throwing something on the court that could have hurt Cat. Say Anthony Edwards or Cat turns their ankle and they're out the whole series. It is what it is.
Yeah.
That is so dangerous. I don't want people to underestimate how dangerous it is throwing something like a heat pack that has moisture coming out of it onto the court where players can slip onto it. That is insane. And then to act that way, childish, that you're even being asked that question when you denied media for the first 2 games. Yeah, I'm sure he's frustrated. He's not playing well, but there's a way to handle it. And I think it's showing the Nuggets and especially Jamal Murray a little bit of front runners. Everything's great when you're ahead, but when you face adversity, what do you really like? And we saw it from their coach, and we're seeing it from their star players.
Another loser is Patrick Beverley. He got his punishment for throwing a basketball at two different fans during his playoff run against the Pacers, and the whole inappropriate interaction with a reporter for ESPN after the game. He gets suspended for 4 games without pay after the Bucks Game 6 elimination loss to Indiana. So that is what he gets. And outside of the NBA, the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department is investigating the ball throwing at the fans. So legal action could also be taken.
Solid.
So 2 very different night and day punishments for 2 dumb decisions made by 2 big names. One of them because he's a good player, and the other one just because he's an idiot. So there you have it. And one last note around the NBA. We go to the New York Knicks. OG Anunoby is out for Game 3 versus the Pacers with a hamstring strain. So no OG Anunoby because he saw Ice Spice sitting on the baseline and he decided to be otherworldly and he pulled a hammy in the process.
I feel bad for Josh Hart. He hasn't came out the game in 10 quarters. He's going to have to play the entire game again.
Yeah.
There's no subs. They're running like a 6-7 man rotation. There's no subs.
I mean, and also on that same note, that same thought process, shout out to Jalen Brunson, who got hurt in that game as well, but came back out and powered through it and still
just kind of have to do it.
And he was still a difference maker in Game 2. So, yeah, there you go.
It's time for difference makers. Next time you see us, next time we're talking, here it is.
We are minutes away from playoff action between the Mavericks and the Thunder and the Stars and the Avalanche. We will get you ready for all of that, keep you up to date on all of that. But as we start that off, coming up next, 877-881-1053, the question I need you to answer. What is something you didn't respect or appreciate enough until you grew up and became an adult? 877-881-1053, Twitch and YouTube. Talk about that next here on The Fan.
Coming up on the next KNC Masterpiece, all things Mavs and Stars Game 2, plus the return of our special guest host, Colby Sapp. Join the show, 10 a.m. to 2.
Sell it on Kelley Blue Book. We're here mile after mile, moment after moment. Price it, fix it, trade it, sell it. KBB.com. Visit KelleyBlueBook.com to get the journey started.
The good folks at Wendy's have a revolutionary new product for you. Introducing the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024. It's the classic, creamy, orangey flavor you remember. Dare I say, it's new-timey. It's the flavor you grew up with, just all grown up. Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's. The Rangers and A's split a doubleheader today, and the Rangers are heading for Denver. Hi, everybody. This is Eric Nadel, inviting you to join Jared Sandler, Mike Peasley, and me. It's the Rangers and the Rockies Friday night at 7:40, broadcast time 7 o'clock, right here on 105.3 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
This segment on 105 Through the Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet and Grapevine, they're the #1 Chevy dealer in the world. More Silverados than anyone else. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads based on new Chevy registrations 2023.
Welcome back to the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. Alec Medford and Blake Elliott.
Yes, sirski.
The Young Guns taking over until 11 o'clock tonight. We have tip-off in Oklahoma City. The Mavericks and the Thunder are underway. 2-0. The Mavericks lead early, and Luka already got tripped up, and his face slammed into the floor. So
I like it. Let's
yeah.
get the intensity. You're already trying to play dirty? Come on.
Already getting aggressive and nasty and unnecessary, and we might have to wait for Stars hockey because the Carolina Hurricanes just tied up the game against the Rangers 2-2 with $1:36 left in regulation. So we're going to have another fireworks show between the Rangers and Hurricanes.
And that happened last time. I was watching this game and I had YouTube TV, so I had like the multi-view pulled up and it wouldn't show the Stars game until this one ended. And it was only 3-0 before I saw a single thing. I had to rewatch it. It's like because it went into overtime and it took forever in overtime. So hopefully this one can get done quickly. If not, though, maybe we can kind of bounce and have one game on at a time.
Yeah, the Canes went empty net to get the man advantage, and they score with under 2 minutes left in this game. This is going to be a fun one, and it looks like this Mavs game might be a fun one. They are up 7-0 now with 10 left in the first frame. But the question for this segment, Blake, 877-881-1053, Frankel and Frankel Injury Attorneys text line. What is something you didn't respect or maybe appreciate enough until you grew up and you became an adult? That's for the Twitch and YouTube as well.
My best answer, and I think it's the #1 answer, I'm going to be honest, it's just time.
It's very broad, but it's, yeah.
I think it's just time. I think when you're young, you go out and play. You don't realize how much time you're spending with your friends or how much time you're doing homework. You just don't have a really recollection or understanding of how time works. And then the older you get, you're trying to plan things out, hang out with your friends, hang out with your significant other, hang out with your family, whoever it may be. You're like, man, I only have like 3 hours to really spare. Whereas when you're young, you've got 1,000,000 hours, it feels like, to spare. Now you have everything stacked on top of each other. Well, I would hang out, but I have work the next day, or I would do this, but I have to plan the show, or I have to go to this game, or I have to watch, and it can be whatever job you're in. I'm just relating to me and Alex's job, but just think you don't realize how much you enjoy having free time, or how even to have time, man. Just the older you get, and I know I'm speaking from the body of a 24-year-old. It's just hard to have a lot of free time. So I really appreciated the time I had when I was young, just to see my friends and family whenever I wanted to.
Like, I'm glad you and I are on the same wavelength there, because I read the rundown. I was like, you know what's a really deep but solid answer? Time.
Time. That's it. No other explanation.
Such a good one. I like it.
I don't want to reverberate that one because I do have my own answer, but I really do like it because, yeah, Blake's not going to be paying attention the rest of this show.
Sorry, Luka's going crazy.
If you're watching on the fan cam, you're seeing Blake just stare at the TV.
Blake in his natural element right here.
Yeah.
Going bananas.
Blake, I wish I had your job getting paid to watch the game.
I'm listening.
But no, I do want to reverberate that just a little bit because I do appreciate that. And I think one thing that I've caught on to, especially here recently, maybe in the past, like it's shown in the past few weeks, but it's really kind of come up in the past couple of years, is as I've gotten older, I've gotten more sentimental So time does play a huge factor into that. Like, I have an older sister that lives in Florida. So like the rare time that she gets to come out here, I get to go out there. I really appreciate it. And I'm really sad when it's over, because that's like my best friend, grew up with her. So, that little bit of time that we get is always awesome and it's always fun. My best friend in the entire world, Justin, he just went out to LA and I haven't seen him since, December. And we used to hang out pretty much every day. And now I'm starting to realize, dang, I took that for granted because we hung out every day for 22 years.
Yep.
So those things starting to kick in. And then like just from the personal perspective, like you were saying, Blake, where there's just so much going on now in life for everybody. You just have things that come up that you can't really account for. And you have the things that are going to be in the way, but they still suck. And, whether it be somebody in the family getting sick or, maybe you have a friend that needs you to help with something or, you get called into work last second or whatever it may be. There's always that X factor, that variable that you don't know what could happen on a given day. And, for some of us, and I know this sticks out for you specifically, some people just to even try to have some resemblance of a personal life or whatever, they do have to pick up multiple jobs or they have to make multiple outside commitments to make ends meet. And I just appreciate that so much more. And I appreciate the people in my life that have to do that, but they still make the time for me. Like there's a handful of people. I have plenty of friends that are working 2, 3, 4 jobs, because think about my age, I'm 22. So there's a lot of, still friends that are in college or just getting out of college and they got money to pay back and whatnot. So they're having to do all kinds of heavy lifting financially, and it makes it hard for, interpersonal relationships to kind of exist in the way that they did when you were younger. So I do really appreciate that. That happens in, like with me and an old girl, it's just like trying to make that happen, make, time for each other is almost impossible some days. And then some days it's really easy, so man. It's a weird thing that, like you said, when you were young, it was just like, man, I'm bored all the time. And now it's like, I would pay money to be bored.
Yeah. I mean, I was going through my Snapchat and just seeing 4-year ago memories of me being a freshman in college and just
that's what punches me in the face.
And I'm just like, man, we just had all this free time just going to the cafeteria just because I'm not even hungry, just to eat and conversate with my friends and just had all this free time. And I think another good one is going to be bills. It's going to be, and more specifically, I'm going to say the electricity bill. I feel like that's one of those bills you don't think about when you're young. It's just you turn the lights on, you're playing the game, you're hanging out with your friends, you're eating, whatever it may be. And you're like, whatever, it gets paid. Then when you get older, and you're like myself, and you got your own apartment, and you realize when I leave those lights on, I got to pay for that. Nobody's gonna help me.
This is true.
I got to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm going to read a few from the Tolos, and then I'm going to get to my answer because I've got some sound to go with it. Let's see, from the 806, listening and respecting your elders. From the 214, as you get older, it's family and health. From the 682, Anthony from Mansfield, Texas. Ironic, that's one of my best friend's name, and he lives in Mansfield. I would say parents taking care of the bills. It sucks having to pay your own bills. Right there with you, Blake. From the 214, not time, money. From the 928, a good bowl of ice cream. Don't think too hard about what we talked about over the weekend, Blake. From the 214, life before the internet, being all out at the mall on weekends. Back then, took it for granted. From 214,
we got to sit on that one. That's a good one right there. The mall?
We are up against the clock, sir. From the 214, summer break, having high energy, high metabolism, and having more friends. And then from the 682, simple naps. Amen.
Nap time went crazy in kindergarten.
It really did. I am going to say one thing, like, it is not philosophical or, it's not deep at all. It's kind of basic, if we're being honest, but weather. Like growing up, I did not respect it whatsoever. I didn't care what the temperature was. I was going to dress the same. I was going to approach life the same. But now that I have to drive 45 minutes to work and, it's like raining some days and it takes an hour, and then you're talking about lightning and stuff. All that stuff scares me more than it
driving
does.
the ice during the winter times here.
Yep. I've had to come up to work in ice storms, and it's been terrifying. So I'm a lot more appreciative of that. And the fact that there are people in our profession in the broadcast world that are just not afraid of it. This is Tim Reith in Nebraska. This is KGHI. They were in the middle of getting hit by a tornado, and the meteorologist Tim Reith just stays on the air.
We're being directed to go.
Okay. You guys go ahead. Everybody else, go ahead.
He
go
said
ahead.
Keep your mic on. And
You go.
Let's try to do what we can.
You guys go.
Okay.
Alexis, feel free. You guys, safe shelter. Keep me on air. Head to the safe shelter, okay? Okay, we're sending everybody else to the safe shelter here at the station because we are included in this tornado warning. I will stay on as long as I can to keep everybody updated. All right, I will stay on and try to keep everybody posted. Again, the tornado warning for Phelps County to the north has been allowed to expire.
Yeah, he literally he stayed in front of the green screen. He didn't go like off camera and duck and cover with the mic pack. No, he stayed there. And he continued to give updates as everybody else, and he instructed everybody else. He said, y'all go. There's a safe room here. Y'all go. And I'm going to continue to update these people because this is a life-threatening situation, and I want the greater good for the people around me, you know? And that clip struck me because, one, he's dedicated to his craft, and two, I just don't mess with weather anymore. Like, I do love, if I'm indoors, I love it. Like, I'll sit there and watch a storm just because lightning is beautiful sometimes. But if I'm out in it, I'm driving, I'm thinking about what is the safest way I can get home fast.
Yeah, I usually just cry and pull over. Usually my go-to.
That's a solid way. You know, I've thought about it a few times myself, but I've never actually acted upon it. From the 785, nice area code. Overnighters at the skating rink.
Great answer.
See, I loved those until I hated it. I hated it because I worked at a skate rink. I'm not going to say which one because in the Metroplex.
I've got a feeling.
And yeah, you probably got a good feeling.
Yep.
I worked there and I quit after a month because they lied to me about what job I was going to do. I ended up cleaning bathrooms when I was supposed to be a DJ.
I was about to say, I was like, you definitely wanted to be the DJ at that place.
Yeah, I applied to be the DJ. I was told I was going to be the DJ, and I was cleaning skates and cleaning toilets.
DJ Medford on aisle 3 in the toilet.
Making minimum wage. That was fun. From the 785, no way I can stay up 24 hours these days. So much fun. I can if I need to, but I definitely don't want to at this age anymore. Yeah, that's pretty much it from the 214. This one's good. Playing basketball in my driveway as a kid.
Yep.
I missed that one too.
Counting down the clock. Oh, 5 more seconds are added. He was fouled.
I missed that one too.
Some wiffle ball, some Foursquare thrown in there.
Yes, absolutely.
Cherry bomb.
Really, any of those like recess games. And then from the Twitch, Swaggy Booties on twitch.tv/Dallas Fancam. Didn't appreciate clothes as gifts. That's amazing because I love clothes and like I love it more than I ever did. And I'm realizing how expensive it gets.
Give me fresh socks any day of the week.
Yes. And my birthday is next month, June 24th. If anybody wants to get me socks of the Nike variety, I would be very happy.
Low cut?
Yes. Really good conversation. Appreciate you, Tolos and Blake and James, for interacting on that one. The Mavericks are up 21-18. Oklahoma City is heating up a little bit with 6 minutes left in the first frame. The puck has dropped between the Stars and the Avalanche. Just one shot by the Stars so far. Nothing early on in this game. We'll keep you up to date as we continue on throughout the night. But coming up on the other side, best remaining NFL free agents. Would you want any of them? Next on The Fan.
Through your phone, smart speaker, or more, name your device. The Odyssey app is there for you thanks to our friends at Comerica.
Milestone Environmental Services is an oil field waste disposal company with state-of-the-art disposal facilities. Due to our growing business, we have immediate opportunities for wash rack operators.
Uber Eats has low fee products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else.
Every year that it actually should. Stop overpaying on property taxes. You know that you can fight property taxes and save thousands of dollars every year. Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying property tax, you should pay what's fair. You can sign up. It takes less than 3 minutes to sign up. If you haven't protested your property taxes before, you have no idea how much money you could save simply by signing up in less than 3 minutes and getting the property tax value down to a more fair value. Put that money back in your pocket in just a few minutes. No stress, no big-time investments. Did you know 86% of Ownwell's customers save on their property taxes? You have hundreds of thousands of happy customers and 5-star reviews every single year. Save money on your property taxes with Ownwell. Sign up less than 3 minutes. Start your protest today. Ownwell.com. That's OWNWELL.com.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1 Dallas Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
An Odyssey sports station. It's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Hour number 3 of the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan, except it's not the Get Right. It's the Young Guns taking over. My name is Alec Medford. His name is Blake Elliott.
Sersky.
Together we are the Young Guns right here on 105.3 The Fan. You got James Tritley on the ones and twos for you. The Turn It On, Leave It On listener, we appreciate you being and doing just that. The Frankel and Frankel Injury Attorneys text line is 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053 to get involved in any and all of our conversations with you until 11 o'clock tonight, as we do have double barrel playoff action underway. Second round playoff matchups, game 2 matchups between the Stars and the Avalanche and the Mavericks and the Thunder. And we literally can just go delete the history of the 8 o'clock segment where we talked about Luka being cooked because of Tim Legler's conversation that he started, because Luka is feeling himself.
Feeling it.
Early on for the Dallas Mavericks. I believe he's 3 of 4 from 3 so far, and the first quarter isn't even over yet.
Yeah.
And really, they're just going offense for offense, shot for shot. It is 29-22, the Mavs lead with 3.5 left in the first quarter. But Luka has been the be-all, end-all.
He does not look hurt.
For the Dallas Mavericks. He doesn't look hurt.
Psychology working there, Blake.
I think we just needed to put a little bit more negativity into the air, and then good things would happen.
He tunes in.
He's a Tolo. He's a pregame listening on the Odyssey app. Everybody else is playing some of that new Kendrick or whatever, and he's just listening to G-Bag during shoot-arounds, and then during his pregame little chill moment in the locker room, he's got his AirPods in and listening to us.
Yep. He heard the crosstalk. He heard everything.
He was actually watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/DallasFanCam 105.3 The Fan on YouTube. The Mavs, thanks to Luka Doncic mainly, shooting 61% from the field so far.
You know what?
So,
they had the graphic up on there. Maybe that helped a little bit. Luka finishes 3rd in MVP. Gets absolutely shamed by the voting. Maybe this is a little bit of a, hey, all right, 3rd in MVP. SGA is number 2, huh? Well, let's see it this game.
I'm sorry from the 3-2-1. The Get Young, where Drake is listening.
I'm not co-signing any of those thoughts.
Straight to jail.
Oh boy.
Because I believe it's all just allegations.
We're certified lover boys around here.
We are certified lover boys.
We are certified lover boys.
Privileged broadcasters. You like that spin right there?
God, that's an elite text.
Who said that one? 682?
Yes, that was awesome. Or 321 actually.
321 said that?
Yeah, the 682 said, I listen to you guys every day and all day from my car, but to see you guys on Twitch is weird to see a face with the voice.
Yeah, it's weird seeing both of us. I probably haven't seen much of it.
Yeah, and part of that is, we're not on video on the weekends, and then 2, I haven't been on the night show in like 4 months. So
are we even real, Alec, or is this a simulation? Are people
AI is becoming a big thing.
Correct.
AI is becoming a very big thing. So we might not exist. Like, honestly, do we exist?
I don't know. I think it's just our voices and these physical features you're seeing. No.
I'm just Siri, if you didn't know.
Correct.
No, we're very real, and you can follow us on socials at Alec on the radio, at @BlakeLive__, and you'll see some of our real life, interactions and things. And yeah, you'll see that I don't just talk about sports on the radio. Sometimes I talk about, diss tracks and stuff. And then sometimes I talk about pro wrestling. And sometimes I talk about absolute nonsense.
We do have lives outside of this. So we are real people outside of this.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
The Mavs up 10 right now with about 2 minutes left in the first quarter. The Mavs on an 8-0 run, I should say, with or in the past 3 minutes. So, yeah, it's been really, really good for the Dallas Mavericks, and the New York Rangers just won in overtime over the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2.
Get it off my screen.
Yeah, so that game's over. Get that out of here. I need Stars hockey, as it's still nothing against the Avalanche. We'll keep you up to date in those matchups.
Who's scoring the first goal, Alec? You didn't no thought process. Just tell me a name.
Nils Lundqvist.
Oh my gosh, he's not in the ice.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
You're a problem.
I'm totally kidding. You know what? I don't want to take the low-hanging fruit and say Wyatt Johnston, but you know what? Give me Joe Pavelski.
Give me Robertson.
Joe Pavelski's due.
Yeah, he's due.
I'll give you one better. The guy who's returning tonight, Mason Marchment.
Yes, yeah, that's probably a better one, and I hate that you took that. Yeah, I'm just kind of going with recent playoff history. Remember last year where Jason Robertson just couldn't buy a goal if he even tried?
That's true.
And then he just out of nowhere in that Golden Knights series last postseason, he turned it on. So I'm hoping
Joe can do that. That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Or anybody at this point, let's just even the series and get it back where it needs to be.
Yeah, let's bring it back to a game apiece. That would be nice. And essentially reset the series. I would like that. As we await for more scoring in both games, I have the best remaining free agents in the NFL.
Give it to me.
And their best fits from CBS Sports. And you can tell me if you would personally be interested in any of these veterans. The first one that I know you would have no interest in, but still an intriguing name because veteran quarterbacks are usually highly sought after to a degree. Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, he's cooked, brother. He's at the point where is he even a bridge? Like
I think he could be.
He's an expensive bridge. I don't know how much he's asking for.
I don't think he's expensive at all.
You think you can get him for low?
I think you could have gotten him for as much as Jacoby Brissett in New England, which he was dirt cheap as well.
I got to know where his best fit is because he is quite literally just a bridge. The fact that Tennessee even kind of flirted with having him out there over Will Levis, just let Will Levis develop. Who they got is his best target. Who needs a bridge?
His best fit is the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
Do you want to give Bo Nix a chance? Allow a veteran to come in and mentor him while he learns the job. Tannehill would be a better placeholder for that role than Jarrett Stidham or Zach Wilson. It's unlikely that Tannehill lands in Denver, but he's the veteran quarterback this team is lacking. He has 151 starts in his 12-year career. And you look at some of his numbers, and you wouldn't think his career has gone as rough as it has, just all-encompassing. 34,881 yards, 216 touchdowns, and a 91.2 quarterback rating.
See, I'm kind of mad because I just said all that, but that is a very decent point to give Bo Nix a chance. This isn't a team that's I don't think anyone's they're going to the championship. If you can give Bo Nix a soft landing and let him grow into the quarterback you would think he should be, I actually don't hate that, having Tannehill there to kind of soften the blow. So I'm with it.
And I feel like every team with a rookie quarterback should be doing that. But you've just seen in the past decade or two, you have had those rookie quarterbacks that have been able to step in and kind of learn on the job. So it's kind of ruined that precedent of, maybe get your guy a year early or a couple years early and let him develop. I mean, you still see it every now and then, like Jordan Love in Green Bay, and it worked out just fine, at least for one season. We'll see how the next one goes. And he's about to get paid, but I think that precedent should come back because I feel like a lot of these first round draft picks are getting rushed into really bad situations.
Correct.
Overall, I feel like Zach Wilson could have been a good NFL quarterback. He got rushed. I do think that he probably was drafted too high, but I do think in the right situation, had he had time to actually learn how to be an NFL quarterback, he had the assets to make that happen. He had the traits to make that happen. He was just rushed. The next best free agent available.
Give it to me. What you got for me, Mr. Medford?
He's an offensive tackle.
Okay.
He wore the jersey number 69. He is David Bakhtiari. And he's the longtime Green Bay Packer. He's still one of the top tackles in the game when he's healthy, which is probably why he hasn't been signed since his release from the Green Bay Packers. He was a first-team All-Pro in 2020. He had made 5 straight All-Pro teams before injuries caught up to him. He's missed 38 games over the last 3 seasons. His best fit.
Who's needing a tackle? Give me the Houston Texans.
Incorrect.
Okay.
NFC team that has a veteran quarterback.
There's a lot of those. The Minnesota Vikings.
Incorrect.
Okay. Not a veteran anymore. Kirk is on Atlanta.
Exactly.
Who's the team?
It's the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay.
They have Alaric Jackson and Joe Noteboom at left tackle, not really addressing that position in the draft at all either. So, veteran guy.
Yep.
That could make a lot of sense.
Give it to me. I like it.
The next best available free agent in the NFL is Zach Cunningham.
Linebacker?
Linebacker.
Yep.
Oh! You're getting good with these drops already. So, they have his best fit as the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles could use more competition at linebacker even after getting Devin White, who's awful now, and Oren Burks in free agency. Again, who? And then they drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr. They're likely set at linebacker, but Cunningham was a pleasant surprise for them because he played for them last year.
Okay, I was just going to say, didn't he used to play for the Eagles? That was throwing me off.
He did. So a return is his best fit. He finished with 85 tackles and 4 passes defended in 13 games, 10 starts. He's only 29.
Yeah.
Feels like he's been around forever, but he's only 29. And bringing Cunningham back would be good competition for White and Nakobe Dean as well. People forget about him because he's been a non-factor. And a good mentor for Trotter. Again, unlikely to happen, but the Eagles would probably like to have some depth at linebacker.
Yeah, if you're a Cowboys fan, please bring back Zach Cunningham because he was getting cooked all season. I mean, he was fried chicken, the bites, the bowl, whatever you want to call it. That man was in every combo pack for most teams in the schemes. Give me the running back wheel. Let's see Zach Cunningham try to chase him around. So, yes, as a Cowboys enthusiast, go ahead and sign Zach Cunningham, hopefully to a multi-year contract too.
The Dallas Stars are on a power play, just FYI. We will let you know if it results in anything positive. The next best remaining free agent in the NFL is a big name.
Okay.
Actually, not even joking. He played for the Miami Dolphins. He played corner / safety. Xavier Howard. And he could get an opportunity to start with a few different teams out there. Even though he's older, injuries have caught up. He's not exactly in his prime, but they have his best fit as the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay. Yeah, the Colts needed a corner. Who did they draft in the first round? I'm blanking because I had them in my head mock to get a corner, but I don't think they got a corner. I'm completely blanking on who the Indianapolis Colts had in the first round. Either way, they had a corner need. A lot of people were mocking them to get Quinyon Mitchell. They ended up not getting him, so I think that is a good little fit.
They got Laiatu.
Yes, the edge. Yeah, from UCLA.
And then they got A.D. Mitchell.
A.D. Mitchell. Oof. They had a good draft. They definitely went with the flashier picks.
Oh, yeah.
And I like it. So, yeah, I could see that could be a nice little resurgence of a veteran corner over there. Veteran corners seem to always do well in Indianapolis.
They do. And the final one, which we've kind of touched on a little bit. He's actually not the final one. I totally lied to you. There's 2 more. We'll touch on this real quick. Stephon Gilmore. They have his best fit as the Green Bay Packers.
Ew, that would be insane, right? Just got smacked.
Green Bay did not draft a corner until pick number 255.
Yeah.
At 33 years old, Gilmore had allowed 4 passing touchdowns and a 60.3 rating in coverage. So, really good season at 33 years old. And the final one, I promise. Justin Simmons, the former All-Pro safety for the Denver Broncos.
For some reason, doesn't have a job.
His best fit, the New York Jets. And they did not draft a safety. They did not add a safety in free agency. He's a better option than Tony Adams or Chuck Clark at the moment. And the Jets have been active in free agency. They just need the right price.
Oh, man. The Jets. The Jets. They have a lot of issues.
Don't start that.
They got a lot of good things. I could see that being I don't know how my boy Simmons hasn't gotten a job. I mean,
Me neither.
I
He's
feel like he's
awesome.
still a really good safety.
He's
and they're
still
just like,
he's not in his prime, but he's still really good.
they're just like, whatever. Justin Simmons.
The safety market is so deflated right now and so oversaturated. It's just bad for the position group. So there you have it, the best remaining NFL free agents, as we have 2 playoff games for Metroplex teams underway. The Avalanche kill the Stars power play off. It is still 0-0 with about 6 minutes left in the first frame of that game. And between the Mavs and Thunder, it is 38-37 with 10:24 left in the second quarter. The Mavs lead by 1. Coming up next here on the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan, most surprising developments for each MLB team, plus what would it take to get my favorite baseball player right now, Mason Miller. Next on The Fan.
More and more of you are turning us on and leaving us on. Hashtag Dolo, baby. Thank you for listening to 105.3 The Fan and our Odyssey app presented by Comerica.
It starts with a simple order. A cold Dos Equis dressed with salt and lime. But for the salt clinging to the bottle and the lime perched on top, this is the luckiest of unions. As if the universe has swiped right, pairing
This is your haircut, but that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair.
Facebook.com/Sean and RJ.
Mike Bassick with 105.3 The Fan. You have heard about the TrustedLab.com before. It is a Texas company with the highest quality CBD products. Many people say it helps with muscle and joint pain. Delivered right to your door. CBD is all natural and many use it before going to sleep. CBD is non-addictive and it is all natural. Go to the TrustedLab.com and see which CBD product is best for you. CBD you can trust. Use code FAN, F-A-N, for an extra 20% off your first purchase. TheTrustedLab.com.
This segment on 105 through the Fan is sponsored by Frankel and Franco. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there is never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Welcome back to the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan, where all I have to say is Dallas Stars!
Dallas Stars!
Stars are up 1-0 after a Miro Heiskanen one-timer.
Come on, baby.
On the Colorado Avalanche.
Are you telling me we scored?
We scored.
We scored?
We scored.
Bing bong.
We definitely scored. And the Stars have a 1-0 lead. You love to see it.
Go.
Early lead. I can't get comfortable at all.
We just need them not to score 2 more. That's what we need.
I feel like if we could score 4, we might be in a better shape than we were last time.
Let's just go full Reggie mode. I'll support it for once and say score 7 and we'll win. I'm okay with that. A D-Live slam puts the Mavs up 10 on
Tim Hardaway Jr. is making plays, Alec.
Oklahoma City Thunder. The Mavericks are on a 9-0 run in the last 2 minutes and 40 seconds. There's 8 minutes left in the first half of action. Just a reminder, we have feet on the ground in OKC. Carter Freeman, our video expert, is going to call in at halftime, and he's going to give us an update from the building at the Paycom Center in OKC. So lots of good things going on right now.
I'm excited, Alec, because we're going to be taking our shirts off soon.
This is true. We made a promise to the Twitch and the YouTube that if we're up during the final call at around 10:40, 10:45, if we're up by double digits, the shirts are coming off and they're staying off. Take it off, leave it off. That's what Tolo stands for.
That's what it stands for. I don't know. That can be taken out of context. We don't want any don't sue us. Take it off, leave it off.
Yes. Respectfully. With consent.
With consent, of course.
So MLB.com.
This is turned into.
This is 9 o'clock radio, James. Welcome to our world. MLB.com got all of the team beat writers together and put together a piece, the most surprising developments for each MLB team. And so Kennedy Landry, the great Kennedy Landry, friend of the Get Right, put together her most surprising development for the Texas Rangers. And we can get to the rest of the division as well. And we got to talk about my pet cat in Major League Baseball, Mason Miller.
Mason Miller's a dog.
We finally have an idea of what his trade market could look like. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But for the Rangers, what would you say is the most surprising development for this team so far this season?
I feel like there's only one. Well, there's many answers. Okay, let's just put that out there before I stick my foot in my mouth. There's one very good answer there.
Development as in, there's a lot of kind of ways to look at.
Is it kind of like surprise move? Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, most surprising development for each team.
Cody Bradford, but he got hurt.
He was kind of in there until he got hurt.
Wyatt's been okay. Everyone I'm saying is now on the injured list.
I mean, there's a position player that is filling a
Leote?
legitimate spot for an injured player.
Leote's been pretty solid. I gave him a lot of crap, and he's been on base like in 14 or something straight games. I'm gonna go Leote's my answer.
Okay.
So I know James is going to be Josh Smith.
Yep, that's
awesome answer.
That's a fair one.
And you both are not certified ball knowers because that's not the answer. I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
I was about to say, I was like,
It's not the answer, but still, you guys are ball knowers, and I agree with both of yours, except for Blake's. I don't think Leote's been that great.
There's two other answers on there.
I'm trying to give Leote some props because I was hating on him heavy talking about.
Okay, he's been heating up offensively.
He's been doing
though.
better.
Defensively is still kind of suspect.
Yeah,
he worries me defensively.
Yes,
he's not going to win an MVP, but
offensively, he's tearing the cover off the baseball right now. I'll give him that. He's one of the streakiest hitters we have seen in a minute. And no, the answer that Kennedy Landry goes with is the one that really has caught my eye all season. And if I were doing a blind response to this probably would be my first or second entry. The low-key off-season bullpen signings have been paying off.
Yep.
The Rangers' biggest flaw last season was the bullpen's inability to close out games. In the 2023 regular season, Texas finished 30 for 63, a.k.a. 47.6%, in save opportunities, a.k.a. not good. The front office then added 2 high-leverage bullpen arms this offseason in veterans David Robertson, who currently has a 0.96 ERA, and Kirby Yates, who still has a 0.
Kirby Yates is he's nails. You bring him out here, the game's over.
And they have become a formidable 1-2 punch at the back end of the bullpen, and it's really just because of experience. And I mean, you saw it yesterday. David Robertson looked fantastic. He just needed, for 3 outs, I think he only needed 10 pitches.
He was near immaculate.
Yeah, and it should have been immaculate because I think it was the third pitch on the third batter was called a ball, but it was right on the edge.
I mean, it was there. It was that borderline
call. It was there. I got to ask, Alec, because you are a certified ball knower when it comes to around the bases. Jose,
I like how you think I'm some expert in baseball.
This is my baseball expert.
I just watch baseball. I'm not an expert.
Guys.
I'm just a fan of the game.
Alec is a savant. Don't let him.
It's called 105.3 The Fan, not 105.3 The Expert. I'm a fan of the game.
Okay, so as a fan, Jose Leclerc, amazing last year, especially in the postseason. Did you predict where he would kind of be, or did you expect him to be that guy? And is him falling off and the other guy stepping up a surprise to you? Something that's worrisome, not worrisome? Obviously, the other guys are doing well, but I'm saying with the Jose Leclerc, where you're like, wow, I'm almost so happy because we didn't know what to think of this guy, or where are you at with Leclerc and seeing how the bullpen is doing so well, even without maybe his contributions not needed as much?
I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but as of late, he hasn't been bad.
Yeah.
Like, there's this weird narrative that surrounds him that I think is pretty unfair.
Talk about it.
Just because he'll have a bad game every now and then. Guess what? It's baseball. There's 162 games. You're going to have a bad game every now and then. And he does get lost in the moment sometimes. He does lose his command sometimes, but here as of late, he hasn't been as bad as people make it out to seem. I mean, like, let's see. His last outing against Oakland in Game 2, he did give up a run. But outside of that, he has not given up an earned run since April 9th.
Pretty good.
I would take that any day of the week.
And I get it. He's going to walk a guy. Like, sure, he's walked in April. He walked 5 batters in how many appearances? 3, 6, 8 appearances. He walked 5 batters. Yeah, he's going to lose control of the strike zone every now and then. Here in May, already he's walked 3 guys. He's going to walk people, and walks end up hurting you, especially in leverage situations if you are not careful. But he's not giving up any kind of major damage right now. I mean, so far this month in 4 outings, he's allowing a 200 batting average. He allowed a 206 batting average in April. I don't see what other people see, if we're being totally honest. I feel you can tell me. Am I missing something?
No.
Has he been worse? Because box score watching is a sport in and of itself, but there's nothing that screams to me you need to be worried about him. Mm-hmm. I think he just needed to kind of ramp back up, find his confidence, because Boch has talked about it. Mike Maddox has talked about it. Jose Leclerc, he's an emotional player. He's really invested, so when things aren't going well, he feels it. When things are going well, he feels it. He just needs to find his confidence, and when he does, he is a closer. He is a high leverage 8th inning guy.
We saw it last year.
Yeah, and he's a guy that would give you 6-out saves. He's a guy that would close out games for multiple innings. And you saw it with other guys too. Josh Spores, notably in Game 5 of the World Series.
Josh Spores was one game away in the regular season from being DFA'd. He ended up going on the IL, and then he's the hero in the World Series. So you can see how one game really just transforms your entire perspective on these relievers.
And we were even joking about it last year whenever Spores did get hurt. We're like, he made up an injury so he didn't have to get DFA'd.
Yeah, the team beat the crap out of him so he could go down and, just be on the IL so they don't have to really make a move.
Exactly. And in that time, he was able to reevaluate some things, probably work with the pitching staff and the coaches and say, what's not working here? Maybe find a mechanical issue that you can kind of round out and smooth out. And it worked because he was pivotal for you in the postseason, as was Jose Leclerc. He was really good for you, too, at the end of the year and into the postseason. So, yeah, I mean, the bullpen as a whole hasn't really given me too many reasons to be overly concerned. I mean, some of the younger guys have had some rough outings, but
Cole Wins looked good.
Yeah, Cole Wins looked, for the most part, really good. And he had, one bad game where he was due because I think he went 7 scoreless innings to start his career.
One bad game. That's not going to kill you.
Yeah, and he was due because like a guy that young and that hasn't been a reliever for more than just maybe a season in the minor leagues. That's impressive. And at some point, you're going to face a lineup that's going to figure you out. That's fine.
I think I want to pad those stats that you kind of talked about whenever you're talking about Robertson and Yates. Saw this stat on Twitter earlier today. 35 2/3 innings pitched for David Robertson and Kirby Yates. An ERA under 1, 43 strikeouts, just 12 walks, 112 batting average against, a .67 whip. Those are two veterans that have been in this situation before. Robertson, former closer, Yankees, Mets, Yates, same thing, Padres, Braves. They've been around the league, and I think I tuned in trying to see where it was, but Chris Young was talking about just how good these guys were, and the only question was really the medical, but he trusted them, and that's why he brought them into this bullpen.
Yeah, and David Robertson, you're talking about a guy that is now north of 800 career appearances. So having veteran experience in the back end of your bullpen is a fantastic thing, and it's paid dividends early on. I do want to pivot real quick before we go to break. Mason Miller, if we're talking about leverage guys, he's not an experienced
I just
guy.
love this guy, Alec. Go on. I love this Mason Miller cat.
So you just faced him against the Oakland A's in Game 1 of the doubleheader. He actually pitched 2 innings for them, and I didn't know because I haven't studied him a whole lot. I didn't know he was a multi-inning guy because he throws a 102-mile-an-hour fastball. But in 16 1/3 innings, Miller has struck out 33 while allowing only 7 hits and 4 walks. His 55% strikeout rate is by far the highest among major league relievers. His ERA is 1.1. His opponent's batting average is 125. And his expected numbers in both categories, 0.76 ERA and 0.87 batting average.
No, he's a dog, Alec. You're lucky to get a hit off of him.
No pitcher in baseball throws harder. Miller's average fastball velocity of 100.8 miles per hour ranks just ahead of Minnesota Twins' Yohan Duran, who is at 100.7. The A's, in theory, could replace Miller with their setup man, Lucas Erceg, who has been almost as good. He really has, who has the 6th highest average fastball velocity at 98.6, but the 1-2 punch of them in late innings has been very valuable. But all this being said, Ken Rosenthal reporting a few hours ago, naturally, a lot of teams are calling the Oakland A's with trade interest for Mason Miller, the right-hander closer. And no team reportedly has come close to the A's asking price, according to a team source. Perhaps no team will, is what they're also inferring. He's 25 years old. He's not only their best young player, but he's their best player, period. To acquire him, a team likely will need to give up a young player of comparable ability or a substantial package of multiple youngsters who could be part of the A's future. So, just to give you an idea, if the Padres, who are trading for everybody, if they wanted Miller at this early stage, the A's likely ask would be for rookie center fielder Jackson Merrill, and then other teams would be hit with similar requests. Baseball Trade Values estimates a fair deal with the Baltimore Orioles would involve 2 of Keith Law's top 100 prospects. Corner infielder Kobe Mayo, number 27 out of the Major League Baseball farm system, and Enrique Bradfield Jr., number 64. So you're talking about top 100 prospects you're going to have to give up, and multiple of them for multiple reasons. This is the main reason. All the on-the-field success accounted for. Miller's making just $740,000 this season.
Oof.
He's not eligible for arbitration until 2026, and he's under team control until 2029.
Yeah.
2029.
A's have had
5 years.
This is not the first time we've seen the A's draft well and have good guys in their farm and in their system, and then they can never keep them. Never keep them.
So, Alec, I think that kind of begs the question before we go. What would you give up if the Rangers wanted to go get him?
Yes. That's my answer.
Yes?
Yes. My answer is yes.
Okay.
I don't care what it is.
I'd give up Alec.
Wow.
Fired.
I'd respect it, if we're being honest. I'd actually respect it.
I think Brock Porter would be in discussion of being a guy to get traded on number 3 prospect.
I'd be fine with moving him for that.
And Justin Foscue.
Because you're betting on what could be instead of what is.
Yeah.
What is Mason Miller is the best closer in baseball
Absolutely.
right now. What could be is Brock Porter is an ace in the future. You don't know that.
He's a high school arm. Those guys are not always going to pan out.
This is true. We've got about 2 minutes left in the first half between the Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Daniel Gafford has just gone to the locker room with a hand injury. We will keep you up to date on that one. 59-56, the Mavericks lead, and the Dallas Stars are still on top of the Avalanche, 1-0 at the end of the first. Coming up next, maybe a little bit of sharing time, but if we hit the half in OKC, Carter Freeman joins us live from the Paycom Center next on The Fan.
What's up, Tolos? Bobby Belts here for my friends at Kissable Dental. Are you ready to be kissable this summer? At Kissable Dental, they understand that life gets hectic, especially with summer just around the corner. That's why now is the perfect time to schedule your dental cleaning. Are you worried about the cost? Don't be. Kissable accepts all major insurance plans, making quality dental care accessible for you and your family. Take advantage of your insurance benefits and prioritize your oral health before the summer rush. This month, they are kicking off a yearly whitening program. When you sign up, you get 12 Zoom whitenings for the low price of $600. The other guys around town are going to charge you almost $5,000 for the same program. Kissable is looking out for your smile and your bank account. So let's get you kissable. Call today in order to take advantage of their convenient flex scheduling. Schedule your appointment at one of their 3 DFW locations and get ready to show off your best smile this summer.
true, but you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries.
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Paprika?
No.
Nutmeg Maidens.
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
Online at BlueNailRoofing.com. Wind or hail, call Blue Nail.
Cowboys fans, the draft is officially behind us. Next up, rookie minicamp, OTAs, minicamp, and before we know it, training camp in Oxnard. Nobody has boots on the ground covering the Cowboys like 105.3 The Fan. Always streaming live on the free Odyssey app. When you want insight and the best Cowboys insiders, turn it on and leave it on. Your home of the Cowboys. 105.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Download it today.
This segment on 105 Through the Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. They're the #1 Chevy dealer in the world. More Silverados than anyone else. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads based on new Chevy registrations 2023.
Welcome back to the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. Alec Medford and Blake Elliott with you. We're awaiting halftime at the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, as it is currently 63-60. The Mavs on top of the Thunder. High-scoring first half. The second half should be even more fun as things go along. Daniel Gafford left the game with what looked like a hand injury. We'll keep you up to date on that as we get more on it. Hopefully we get an update sometime soon. And then the Dallas Stars still on top of the Colorado Avalanche 1-0. So we await halftime so we can hear from our buddy Carter Freeman, our video expert. And of course, there's a review on a foul going down, so it's going to extend that even further. So why not do what's probably going to be an abbreviated version of sharing time, which, Blake, you told me you were excited. You had a good one for today.
So I got a good one. And whatever gets cut off, I'm definitely going to talk about on Saturday because I feel very passionate about this. I'm be honest with you. So big was using the restroom the other day and got on TikTok.
As one does.
As one does. And I found this podcast, or this clips of podcast, called the Play Date Podcast. It's got Rusty Featherstone and Willie Donnellan. Don't really know who they are. Either way, TikTokers, whatever.
People. Are they real?
Who knows? And they have a series called slang/words that do not exist but should. And they give their reasoning. They give a word and they kind of give a backing up of why this should be a slang. And some of them are just, in my opinion, grade A. And maybe one or two of them are going to get added into my vocabulary. Can I share some with you?
Please enlighten me.
First one I got on the list, podium. Podium. Like a podium where you get a silver, gold, and bronze medal. Blake, where would you use that for? So this is something, say me and Alec are out at the bar and I'm sitting there and my beer is out and Alec just goes and grabs another beer without me asking. I would say, Alec, that's podium. Because it's not the best thing you've ever done for me, but it's top 3. It's a really nice gesture. It's not like world ending, but it's like, hey, that's I appreciate that. That's podium. That's top 3. What do we think about that?
So basically it just means top 3.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't say, hey, that's top 3. That's podium. Like, I appreciate that. Not glazing too far, not too much love, but also I don't want to undercut it. I want you to know I appreciate you.
Not glazing
podium
is crazy. I don't hate it, if we're being honest, because it's pretty literal.
Yeah.
You know, like you make the podium if you're top 3. So that's one of the best things you've done for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it.
Okay.
I'm here for it.
Okay. Here's the next one. I really like this one. Lighthouse. So we're at the bar again. Blake is maybe had a little too much to drink. And he needs someone to look out for him.
As one does.
He needs someone to look out for him. Alec, instead of letting me get another drink, he switches my drink with water. He was looking out for me. He was a lighthouse all night.
This is so corny, and I love it.
How do we like that one?
I like it.
I think your mic's off.
So far.
Oh, mate. Is this mic on, James?
Yeah, his mic's on.
Maybe I just can't. Oh, I hit my mic volume off. That's
Good Lord.
Yeah, you know, if you accidentally...
Somebody needs to be a lighthouse for you and
yeah.
making sure you're all right.
I need a lighthouse.
You know, if you bump that little knob
Yeah, I
next
do.
to your headphones, that turns down the volume.
I did bump it. So what do we think? Are we 1 for 2, 0 for 2?
I think you're 2 for 2 so
Okay.
far. As it is halftime at the Paycom Center. 68-62. The Mavs over the Thunder. Luka is punching the floor.
Yep.
That is not good.
Bloody knee as usual.
He's got a bloody knee, so it looks like he's in a little bit of pain. So yeah, do you have
I got more.
another quick one for
I do.
us?
Well, just let me know when Carter gets on and he'll cut me off. What about Wasp? This is someone in your life.
Okay, because
You know where I'm going with this?
no, I don't, but I know this used to be an acronym back in the day for something very specific. Yeah.
This is Wasp. Someone in your life who's constantly hurting you and it doesn't seem to affect them. That guy's a wasp. You need to get him out of your life. Or that girl's a wasp. You need to get her out of your life.
That boy's a liar. I don't like it as much as the others, but it makes sense. So I'm gonna say I'm okay with it.
What about manual? This guy is another word for just, you know, when you call someone basic, oh, they're basic. I feel like we need a better term for that. What about manual? This guy just does things by the rule books. He's just very straightforward, very old school. He's very manual.
This is the first miss of the bunch.
First miss, okay.
You know what we're not missing is a live update from the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. He is on the D&M Leasing Hotline, our video expert, Carter Freeman. And Carter, so far, so good for the Dallas Mavericks, 68-62. How does it feel to be the minority out there at the Paycom Center?
Well, I picked the best seats in the house because right next to me are 3 rowdy, proud, and loud Mavericks fans. So me and the 3 of them have been going crazy this entire first half. And I think we've been helping a lot because obviously the Mavs are playing a lot better tonight than they did in the first game.
Carter, how much are you enjoying yourself out there? You seem like you're having a good time. Or what environment are we in right now as we hear your voice?
It's loud. I mean, they call this place Loud City. They're not lying. Every 3, every 2, the Thunder faithful are screaming. But every 3, every 2, every foul, it doesn't matter what it is for the Mavericks. Me and the girls next to me, we are just as loud. I did not expect to come here to lose my voice. That was not my plan. Here I am. It's already half gone. I'm talking to you guys. So I'm having a freaking blast.
Well, we appreciate it. On the D&M Leasing Hotline, Carter Freeman, our video expert here at The Fan. He is live at the Paycom Center watching this Mavericks and Thunder playoff matchup, 68-62. The Mavericks lead at half by 6. So far, what are you seeing that you like from the Mavericks? I mean, Luka started off hot. You're seeing some really fast pace. What are you liking so far from the Mavs?
I feel like the team they're playing 5-on-5 defense. There were times in that first game where I just feel like the Thunder had their way on offense. The Mavs didn't offer up a whole lot of resistance. So I really like the defensive effort so far. That being said, there were some Thunder runs late there in the second half, part of the second quarter that we need to kind of shore up. But I mean, the team's doing everything that they weren't doing in the first game, right? They're playing better defense. They're shooting the 3 ball a whole lot better. And Luka was a lot more aggressive early, which I was on record with you guys saying that he needs to take less threes and just get more mid-range shots because he's making all of them. And so far he's done that. And now the only thing is we haven't seen Kyrie do much yet, but that's for the second half, right?
That is for the second half. He's known for that, especially in this playoff run so far. Could I find a way to make you even more happy by saying the Stars just scored and it's 2-0 over the Colorado Avalanche?
Yes, I will. I will tell you guys during the Star Spangled Banner, me and the Mavs fans next to us, we all yelled stars at both parts. So we're repping the stars up here in addition to Mavs.
Bing bong. I got a question for you, Carter. How many Mavs fans would you say are out there? Are we 10%, 5, 20? How much Mavs faithful out there that you can see?
Probably less than 10%. The issue that I'm having finding them is the Thunder decided tonight was the blue out. So the free shirts that they gave away are all blue. And I'm sitting here in my blue Mavs shirt and everyone else is in Mavs blue too. So we kind of blend in. I'm having a tough time, but it's not as much as you would want, but hey, I think the fans that are here, we've been making a pretty big impact so far.
Well, we're glad that you're there. And last one we got for you, Carter, before we let you go and enjoy the second half. I've seen that. I've heard it from your buddy, our buddy, Ruben Portillo. I've seen it from people who have just traveled for these games at the Paycom Center. A lot of comps to a college basketball environment, a really strong fan base for OKC. Do you get those vibes? Do you feel the energy from that team? Because they haven't had a lot to be excited about the past few years, but now they're a pretty dang good team.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only pro team in the state, right? So it's you pretty much have your OU, Oklahoma State, and then the Thunder. So I think because of that, fans here really, really, really love their team. So it's, I mean, like I said earlier, it's loud city. They show up, and it's one of the louder, more fun environments at a basketball game I've been to. That being said, hasn't affected the Mavs that much so far, so I like that even more.
Well, we love and appreciate you for joining us on the D&M Leasing Hotline. Enjoy the second half. Try not to lose your voice, and safe travels on the way home. Let's get a win, buddy.
Yes, let's get a win. Let's get Gafford back in. I know he hurt his hand. Go Mavs, MFFL.
There he goes, Carter Freeman, live from the Paycom Center. You got it here first, a live report from OKC as the man he is watching the game with, our dear friend Ruben, is probably in shambles right now. So that makes me happy personally.
Love it.
Because, you always got to prey on the downfall of your friends. That's
correct.
Just how it works.
Those are true friends.
Yes, those are true friends. And Blake, I have a good feeling that in the final hour, we'll get to some more of your slang that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But it should exist.
Mm-hmm.
So from the 214, promise me, Alec, if you're at the bar with Blake and he starts saying these words, walk away.
It's fine. It's just, if you don't want to be a lighthouse, it's fine.
From the 214, Alex should take that beer back after hearing that.
It's not podium at all.
This is, I love how people hate these. Now, I'm actually in favor. I wasn't just saying that to make you feel good. I actually kind of like some of them.
Yeah.
So we'll have to get back to some of them.
I want Blake to create his own and bring him into this.
Okay, that's when I'm going to hate on him. That's
I can definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I want to hear that Sunday.
Yeah. Because as a good friend, I have to hate on him. Yeah. But no, those are actually pretty solid. I'm not going to be mad at them. So yeah, the Mavs up on the Thunder by 6 at halftime. We'll keep you up to date on that game. And with 17 minutes left in the second period, the Stars up 2-0 on the Colorado Avalanche. Coming up next, we got your headlines, going to reset everything across the world of sports next here on the Get Right.
You may not think what we say is smart, duh, but it's coming over a smart speaker, so that counts. Just tell that genius speaker, play 105.3 The Fan, presented by Comerica.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Do you think a tiny chip in your windshield is nothing to worry about? I'm Pascal with SafeLight. Sooner or later, every chip will crack. So don't wait. Schedule at safelight.com. We can come to you for free and repair that chip fast. And with most insurance, a chip repair is no cost to you. Don't let that tiny chip crack your whole windshield. Go to safelight.com for a free mobile service. Conditions may apply.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Friends, you've been hearing me talk about my computer career for some time now. If you're working way too hard for too little money with no growth opportunities, it might be time to take the next step. In just a few short months, My Computer Career can help prepare you for a more
true that you've got to forget something else to remember that Uber Eats has groceries?
No, that's absurd. Hey, remember when you used to be a, what was it, Pepper Lady? Pepper Lady?
Wasn't it Cinnamon Sisters?
Basil Babes.
Saffron Squad?
Nutmeg Maidens?
Pre-curb?
No.
Nutmeg Maple?
I just said that. Was it Spice Girls?
Doesn't sound right.
Was it Saffron Squad?
For Dos Equis. Nice work, Paper Coaster. From where you sit, you're holding a winning lottery ticket. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
The auto award season is here, and our friends at D&M Leasing have some exciting news to share. Cars.com named D&M the top leasing company in the United States for the 10th year in a row, and we're so grateful for our clients. But there's more. Cars.com also ranked D&M the top dealership in the Southwest region of the United States, regardless of vehicle make, for client experience. Call today or visit them online at dmautoleasing.com and start saving.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
It's time for The Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Final hour of The Get Right. Even though it's not The Get Right, it's not wrong, but it feels so right. It's the Young Guns on a weeknight. I'm just dropping so many bars here. Can you stop messing with your microphone, please, Blake?
Sorry, Kendrick.
That's one of my pet peeves. Messing with the mic.
We need a different word than pet peeve. Where did that even come from?
Peeve pet. There you go. You're supposed to be coming up with new slang.
I got you. Wait till the weekend, baby. That's why you Tolo.
Yeah, his name is Blake Elliott. My name is Alec Medford. The Young Guns with you here on 105.3 The Fan. James Tritley is with us on the ones and twos until 11 o'clock. We're keeping you as up to date as we can until we have to go out of here because, that's how the show works. At 11 o'clock, we will keep you up to date on these games. It's halftime between OKC and the Mavericks. It is 68-62. Mavericks lead by 6, and OKC leads the series, of course, 1-0. The Stars are up early in the second period. 14 minutes left in the second period. 2-0. Stars up on the Colorado Avalanche. We'll keep you up to date on that one as well. So just like Blake said, you turn it on and you leave it off. You don't do what Zach Wolchuk said during Crosstalk. He said turn it off and leave it off just because I disagreed with him and I agreed with Gavin Dawson. So don't listen to him. Listen to me. Listen to us because we're here for you. We're here with you. You are one of us. You're always welcome here. You know what? I'm going to steal one of Wolchuk's old phrases from when he was in this very seat a couple of years ago. This is a safe space.
Yeah, I would say so.
Sometimes.
It depends what segment we're on. It might not be a safe space. You might get roasted.
Yeah, 10:20 a.m. on the FM might not be a safe space. Or the final call, if the Mavs are up by double digits, we're going to be shirtless.
Yeah, it might get crazy. The Dollaritas might start early.
Yeah.
That's not safe for nobody.
Yeah, the Dollarita energy might be reverberating, even though we're not near an Applebee's. Yeah, if you didn't know, I was going to save that for AM on the FM, but Dollaritas are back. I saw it during a commercial break for during the Stars game, and we instantly made plans to go get some after the show.
Yeah.
So, James, come with us. We need Dollarita crimes to be committed.
I'll save it for AM. Keep going. I got something to say. I'll save it.
That scares me.
I'll save it.
It is safe harbor, so you can get away with some stuff. Don't test it, though. We got your headlines.
Look what someone texted. They said, wait, I've been shirtless the whole time. So
you know what? It's coming. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I got to keep my promise from the 214 to get some. I love this. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us. We got some of your headlines as I'm also multitasking and trying to plan for AM on the FM because it's been a chaotic night in the world of sports. So we'll kind of get to some of that whenever I need to get to it.
To you?
He's feeling the vibes. He's dancing. We're on the fan cam, Twitch and YouTube. Come hang out with us there. We love you. Your headlines, let's actually get to some of that. As you did have other playoff action in the NHL and the NBA. We start with the NBA. The Cavaliers actually smoked the Boston Celtics 118-94 today in Boston. Now the series is knotted up at a game apiece. Just not a good shooting night for the Boston Celtics from 3. 22% on the night. That's unacceptable when you are a very good shooting team with a lot of guys. And hey, Reggie let us down. He only had 19 tonight.
Yep, only 19 from Reginald Adetula. He was too busy, trying to worry about his left hand and broadcasting. You got a game to play, Reggie.
Yeah.
Get your head in the game.
He's too busy, hanging out with KNC this week.
Come on, man.
He's not locked in. He's not locked in. He's not made for the moment. So,
not made for it.
Take that, Reg. That's why I showed up and you didn't. But yeah, it was just a rough night for Boston overall shooting. But for the Cavaliers, they shot 54% from the field and 46% from 3. They were feeling it tonight, and they ran the boards as well, out rebounding the Celtics by 12. So it was really just a dominant game by the Cavs, and we are back from half between the Mavs and the Thunder. So we will keep you up to date on that one.
Daniel Gafford's back in too.
Yeah, looks like halftime break. It was all he needed, an early 3.
Aaron Wiggins.
From Aaron Wiggins.
PTSD.
Yeah, I'm already not liking what I'm seeing. I'm not overreacting. I'm not saying the game is over. I'm not saying the series is over. I'm just saying seeing the jersey name Wiggins again is giving me flashbacks. So not happy about that. But the series between the Cavs and the Celtics is now knotted up. I
want you to
at
put
a game apiece.
I want you to put your kahunas out there. Where do you see this series? I think most people
kahunas.
I was trying to be PG. I think
cojones.
I think most people
kahunas is like that's a Hawaiian thing, isn't it? Like a big kahuna. That's like you go to Hawaiian Falls and there's a slide called the Big Kahuna.
Okay, well then that's even more PG. I love it. You knew where I was going with it. Most people thought this would be a sweep or 5. Does Cleveland get another game?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I just don't believe in Boston that much.
Okay. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far. I think this could be a gentleman's sweep, but I like what you're thinking.
We talked about it a little bit earlier. I haven't seen enough in the postseason for me to believe yet. So I don't know. I could be totally wrong because they are an offensive powerhouse. I just don't see it, man. I don't see it in Boston, and I don't know. I always like the Cinderella story as well, even though I don't think Cleveland is a championship team. I don't think they're anywhere near a championship team, but I do think that Boston's a paper tiger. So
paper tiger.
That's one of my favorite phrases and insults. Is paper tiger.
It's been twice I think you've used that now.
Yeah, I use it all the time when I talk about really any Boston team, but the Celtics specifically. I don't know why I like it so much. There's a few insults out there that are fun. They're not super mean, but it just feels like they can carry a lot of weight at the same time. Elsewhere, across your headlines here on 105.3 The Fan, I mentioned other NHL playoff action as the New York Rangers took on the Carolina Hurricanes, and they had another classic that went to just one overtime this time. And the New York Rangers win 3-2. They now lead the series 3-0.
Carolina. Sweet Carolina, you're going home.
Yeah, Carolina looking to avoid the sweep, and I hope they do just because the Hurricanes have one of the best social teams in all of sports, and they have a really fun Twitter team, so their account's a good follow, even though I don't care about them whatsoever. Do you find yourself following accounts like that, like for organizations and teams, just because they're funny?
I'm not a big follow guy, but Instagram and YouTube Twitter and Instagram both kind of have like an integrated For You page without them saying it. So even if you interact with stuff like that, it'll still show you. And there are good ones. Obviously, the Orlando Magic, I think, being at the top of that list, they do a really good social. The Boston Celtics have a good social media team, especially their videography side. I don't follow them, but I just see that. So I think there's a couple. I miss the Brazil accounts, man.
I don't.
The Brazil accounts, man. What a time to be alive.
They were the worst thing to happen to humanity because I think they were a threat to society.
You're telling me Timberwolves Brazil was not on your top tier
threat to society? They had such a cult following.
We need to check if they're still going on.
They had such a cult following that the actual Timberwolves account on Twitter is giving away a custom Timberwolves Brazil jersey that the nameplate says T-Wolves Brazil. You can go enter the contest if you want. I'm not going to.
I have some bad news.
What?
The Oklahoma City lead in this game for the first time since they were up 14-13.
Yeah, 72-71 with 9 minutes left in the third quarter.
It's been a back and forth game, man. The Mavs are shooting really well from outside, but on the defensive side, they're giving up some shots. The SGA and J-Dub and them boys and Aaron Wiggins keep scoring points. Aaron Wiggins, what?
Still don't even know who he is. The Stars still lead 2-0 over the Colorado Avalanche. The Stars have 30 seconds left on a power play.
I mean, we've been on a power play, it feels like the whole game.
And they still only have 2 goals. I need 7.
I need 7. 77. Luka. And 7 goals.
Thank you for that.
You like
I guess.
that?
No,
Like
not,
that twist?
Not really. Elsewhere around headlines and sports and things. We talked about it earlier. We got the unfortunate news today that Josh Spores is headed back to the 15-day injured list, this time with a right rotator cuff strain. He only faced 2 batters when pitching in the second game of the Rangers doubleheader yesterday that you heard on these very airwaves. His velocity was noticeably down when he issued a 4-pitch walk. And then he had a 3-1 count on the second batter, got checked by an athletic trainer, and then he had to leave the game. He missed 17 games from April 7th to 25th because of the same shoulder issue. And the earliest he could return from this stint is May 24th. He is 1-0 with a 1.69 ERA in 5 1/3 innings over 7 relief appearances.
IL team, man. It's a war of attrition. It's a long season, Alec. I'm not going to get too hung up on it, but it feels like every other day there's a new injury. Some young guys are going to have to step up. The Jack Leiters of the world, the Cole Wins of the world. We thought they were just going to try to have to fight for a spot. They are the spot now, and you got to perform. So hopefully the coaching and training staff and the veterans on the team can get those guys up there in confidence level so they can feel good when they get up to the mound or up to the plate.
You can't spell World Series champions without the letters I and L. So there you go.
There you go.
That's my contribution to this segment.
New meaning to elite.
Yes.
Spelled with IL.
Exactly. So I'm just going to think about all the good words like elite and World Series champions that you can't spell without I and L. From the 214, I somehow blame Kevin for the Mavs. We can always blame Kevin
We can
Hageland.
always blame Kevin.
We can always blame him for a multitude of things, and I'm okay with that.
I think I blamed Woolchuck for 2 weeks about the Stars, that they had won.
You can blame him for a lot of things too. So I'd be okay with that. The Colorado Avalanche killed off the Stars power plays, so it is still 2-0 in favor of the Stars.
The Stars are the better team. They just need to. They're jabbing, but they're not punching. I need them to throw that final punch. Knock them out.
I need a left hook.
Need a left hook, baby.
That's what I need. Oh, wow.
Wow.
From the 945, you can't spell my wife cheating on me without I'm taking an L.
I don't think there's an L in wife cheating.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I was trying to find it.
Okay, now the 214 is trying to start beef. Team AM on the FM over Woolchuck. I don't have any beef there. I'm just saying that he told all of you to turn it off, leave it off.
He did say
whenever we took the airwaves.
This is where it starts.
No, I already have beef with Peyton. I don't want any more. I want to focus on one person. I don't want it to be 20 versus 1 or whatever Drake is saying. I want it to be me focused on Peyton and the payload.
Oh, my mom's getting into it. From the 817, Blake's mom, let OKC no real mascot having team come all the way back. Need Kyrie to turn it back on. I like it. They don't even got a mascot. They might, but we don't appreciate it.
Okay, now I'm interested.
It's like a bear or something like that. It's like what even is an Oklahoma City Thunder? You just gonna have a lightning bolt?
Rumble the Bison.
Yeah, it's a bison. What's it got to do with the Thunder?
Why do you have a bison?
Yeah. So I need all the Oklahoma City fanboys, all of y'all text in right now. You feeling good? You got a lead. I want to hear it all. Let it in.
He is ugly too.
Yeah, he's ugly.
If I do say so myself.
I mean, Oklahoma City, Alec.
Hey, he can dunk though. I'll give him that. He can dunk. I see videos.
And you know why they're so good at packing out the arena and having the blue and everything? It's not much else to do in Oklahoma City. I'm sorry.
I mean, Carter Freeman just said it with us in the previous segment. They have one pro sports team.
I mean, I hope it looks like this. And I already said at the beginning, I love it, how good it is. But it's a little bit harder for metropolitan places like Dallas to have as much fan engagement.
You hear that, OKC? Blake just said you're not metropolitan.
Yeah,
Take that.
I mean, look at the statistics.
Take that for data, David Fizdale.
Is it data or data?
That's tough. I've changed stances on that multiple times.
I use both.
I use both. It's kind of like how sometimes I'll say pecan and pecan
That's
just
the
for
exact
fun.
one I was thinking about. It's pecan.
Like I'll switch it up just for fun.
Caramel.
Yeah, and I'll switch those up just for fun, just because I'm a weirdo. I don't like taking one side.
Is that just an indictment of the English language? That there's really no, like, we don't even have someone just like, yeah, this is the correct way to say it. We're just like, oh, it's
This
whatever.
language is very stupid. If I do say so myself, there's a lot of reasons why. And I feel bad for people who had to learn it as a second language. James sent this over to me earlier in the show for your headlines. Ex-NFL defensive back Buster Skrine is on the run from cops after allegedly defrauding banks.
Wow. That's not good.
Yeah, very odd headline. Cops in Canada are currently on the hunt for Skrine after they claim he missed a court date in his fraud case and then ditched his GPS monitor. So he's got like ankle monitor and everything. The retired NFL corner who made over $40 million in his 11-year NFL career had been expected to see a judge in Durham region this week in relation to allegations he defrauded a bunch of Canadian banks with fake checks in 2023, but he had been on bail since April 12th. He never showed up to his court date, and a short time later, authorities say they noticed his GPS ankle bracelet had mysteriously gone offline.
Mysteriously offline. I that's just good business. Just good business. Got to take care of those.
Or a bear.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that orange Bronco chase later.
Oh man! Shout out Will Chambers. Your buddy is out here defrauding banks with fake checks.
Do you think we could get away with anything, Ellie? You think we're slick enough?
No, I'm not smart enough to commit crimes.
You have to be smart or dumb to commit crimes like that.
From the 832, Canadian cops ride mooses. Or is it meese? Or Mises?
I think it's Mises.
Not Mises.
A group of Mises come to hurdle you down in the saddle.
I'm just envisioning cops riding moose now.
It happens. We'll look it up on the break. Cops riding moose.
I'll look it up right now.
It's a real thing.
Should safety search that one.
Right when I typed in cops riding, the first search result. This sounds crazy.
All right.
We're gonna mark this for later.
All right, get ready to hit the dump button.
It said cops riding water buffaloes.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing. When I typed in cops riding moose and hit enter, the first thing was a YouTube video from 2 days ago.
Advisory.
Of Shay pulling up.
2 police officers rescue a moose from frozen lake. So not riding, just rescuing.
Okay. I guess.
I'm writing that one down. I'll explain that joke in the break. Coming up next here on 105.3 The Fan.
Save a horse.
As it is knotted.
No.
I hate this so much, but I love it because it's so wrong, but it's so right. It's knotted up at 77 apiece between the Mavs and the Thunder. It is still 2-0 between the Stars and the Avalanche. So it's time for AM on the FM, where we've got potentially sad news about the best TV show in TV history. Plus, Naomi Osaka. She has the right take on the Drake and Kendrick beef. Next on The Fan.
Through your phone, smart speaker, or more, name your device. The Odyssey app is there for you, thanks to our friends at Comerica.
Whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 40th, she deserves more. Shop tons of stunning on-trend jewelry.
Uber Eats has Lola V products? I gotta remember that.
Well, you know, they say in order to remember something, you have to forget something else. Okay, now that is a very cute haircut. That's like a little shag. I've never seen it before. Well, I mean, of course you have. It's the Rachel. Oh, is that your name? No, I mean, like your name. No, I'm Jen. My name's Jen. Right, but I just mean like this is your haircut, but that's hair on your head. I'm not saying this is your hair. Okay.
2 for 2 today. Yeah. I need a Miro. Bing bong, baby.
Miro.
I need a Miro. I'm holding out for a Miro till the end of the night. Well, I don't need to until the end of the night because he's already done it twice. The question of the day today, Blake.
Alec.
You're not looking, so I just wanted to scream. The question of the day for you and the Tolos. I'm going to get to it here in just a second because from the 214, I love y'all, but you're dumb.
Yes.
Talking about cops riding moose.
That is exactly what the show is.
Okay, but another Tolo texted it in. So are we the dumb ones? You're calling another 214 number dumb.
And we appreciate all
No,
you.
it was actually the 832, actually.
There is no dumb questions on the Get Right.
Yeah. I mean, the 832 said Canadian cops ride mooses. I just wanted to say mooses. That's all I wanted to say. And then it turned into, could we rob a bank if we wanted to?
Mm-hmm.
That's not the question of the day. The question of the day today is very simple. Because earlier today, I had some time to kill, and today was a rest day for me athletically, I guess. So, had some time to kill after I woke up, was planning the show or whatever. It's about lunchtime, but I was like, I'm not that hungry, so I want to kill some time before I find something to eat.
You ate a wasp.
I hate that because you mentioned it as slang, right? But when I was in high school in AP US history, yes, I was an A-push kid.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Shout out to Mr. Souls. I don't even know if you're still in the Metroplex anymore, but you were awesome and you made high school memorable for me. Thank you. He had this acronym that was WASP, and it was for basically every American in the 1800s. And it was white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. And
that doesn't mean a white person?
White, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant.
I don't know what the last three words mean, so. I think I know what the last word means, but.
God help us all.
Person?
Person.
I invite this kind of chaos, but I still don't know how to handle it.
214 nerd alert.
Yeah, I mean, it was true. I was an AP kid, and I hated every minute of it.
Are we at Best Buy? We got the Geek Squad.
Okay, the question of the day was because I ended up going to Five Below, and the one by my house out in GP, they expanded it, and the snack section got even bigger, and they already have a really nice snack section that's really cheap, and I found my favorite candy. So the question of the day is, what is your favorite candy?
Oh, so
877-881-1053.
You asked a great question, Alec, and this is why I love hosting with you, because
hold on, before you answer the candy question, Swaggy Booties on the Twitch asked legit, how did this dude graduate high school?
Who's to say that I did? Who's to say all of it isn't? Actually, I do have the diploma for my college at home, but
you paid for it though. That's different.
I did. You caught me. No, guys, when I apply myself, I'm a genius. Okay, favorite snack.
That's if.
Favorite
a hard if.
Favorite candy. Oh gosh, we're getting kind of scary. They're up by 9. They were up by 11, Alec. We might be going shirtless in a couple minutes.
Yes!
I mean, it's a 9-point game. Tim Hardaway Jr. is hitting and ones.
I haven't gone
threes.
shirtless on the fan cam since the Nosebleed Boys.
I never have been shirtless, so people are gonna see some parts of me they've never seen.
The debut of shirtless Blake. Just got a teaser right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. PJ Washington hit another 3. It's back to 12 points.
Answer the question, Blake. What is your favorite candy? The Mavs are up 93-81.
The 214. You know, Alec had a graphic calculator.
Yes, I did. Answer the question.
Peanut butter M&Ms. I have a whole bag in my house. Okay. Easy.
That's solid.
That's the number one.
That's a really good candy.
The candy you gave me earlier is also probably is in the top 3.
Yeah, I'll answer mine in a minute. James, what is your favorite candy of all time? Right now?
You know, I'm going to go with one of them. I'll say is the one that you have been distributing around here, but another one that's a solid one from high school. I've loved it ever since. The Sweet Tart Ropes. You remember those?
Yes.
Still around. Solid candy. I'd say they're a good number 1. And Alec, I think we have some news, don't we?
The Stars are up 4-0.
Come on, Dallas.
On
Stars.
The Colorado Avalanche.
Bing bang.
Because they're just better.
They're just better.
And hey, we've already scored more than we scored in the last game, so I'm happy.
This is good news.
This is good news. This is very good news. And It looks like it was off the stick of one Tyler Seguin.
He finally gets one, right? I think he had like 30 shots on. Yeah, first goal this postseason. He had like 30 shots on goal and hadn't scored. Tyler Seguin gets on the board, baby.
A minute 50 left in the second period. Things are looking good for both teams so far, as the lead for the Mavs is now only 8. So no shirts for now, or no shirts for now. I should say.
Shirts for now.
No shirtless for now. From the 214 Reese's.
Reese's is probably rounding out my top 3.
That's a good one.
Now, I feel like you can't just say Reese's. You got to say...
Oh, yeah, that was a shorthanded goal, by the way, too.
Yeah, on the power play for the Avs. I'm going to go Reese's Power Cups. It's the cup, but it's got the Reese's Pieces inside it.
Stop saying
Reese's
that.
Pieces.
Reese's
Don't
Pieces.
do that. I know.
Stop
Don't
it.
do that.
I will throw one of my candies at you.
What is wrong with y'all?
What is wrong with you?
Reese's Pieces.
No, that's not it.
Okay, so the gummy bears. I'm sorry. If you got gummy bears in your top 3, no.
Yeah,
no,
gummy bears top 3.
No, you got problems. Gummy bears is not a top 3
Gummy
candy.
bears are a podium.
No.
Hold on, which gummy bears are we talking about? Because there's brand specific.
Haribo gummy bears.
They are not that good, bro.
Haribo gummy bears.
Horrible. They sound horrible.
I gotta chew on it for 10 minutes before I digest
Thank you.
it.
I'm gonna get gum disease by the time I finish two of them. No.
Sounds like you just need to learn how to brush your teeth.
Gummy bears are not good, bro.
Yes, they are. 214, you are a friend of mine.
214, you're an op. You're a wasp.
That's a term you just made up right there.
214, your podium. Your podium. Swaggy Booty says take 5 or Toblerone.
That's manual right there. I mean,
I hate this so
Alec,
much.
we haven't gotten to yours just yet. It's been a lot going on.
I'm gonna hold mine up on the fan cam.
Okay. Well, for our listeners,
It is-
we need some radio too.
Yeah. These are the Nerds Gummy Clusters.
Great.
I came across them at what's it called? Five Below
Yep.
earlier today. And I didn't discover them until somewhat recently. And they're awesome. It was actually our buddy Ruben Portillo, our super engineer, who put me onto them. I think we were watching one of the nights of WrestleMania, and he brought them over, and he was like, "Dude, these are amazing." I was like, "Really?" And he gave me a handful. I was like, "Dude, these are amazing. You know ball."
And that's the alternate flavor as well. Usually it's the pink bag.
Yeah, I don't really care
They're
which
still
one.
good.
Yeah, they're both just as good to me.
I've never seen or tasted a more podium candy than that. Gosh, I'm 27, guys. I'm old around here. Alec
I
has
hate
just.
everything about tonight. I hate everything about it.
We'll be back this weekend.
Yeah.
4-0, the Stars lead going into the second intermission.
Just what we want.
Exactly. The double AC is rocking. The towels are waving. Everything is great. Under a minute left in the third quarter for the Mavs, and they're up by double digits. It's like 95 to what was it?
99 to 85.
Or 99 to 85. There we go. Flip the numbers. But from the 214, Welch's gummies. I don't think that's candy. I think that's just a fruit snack.
Yeah, those aren't very good either. Those are very overrated. The Welch's, bro, you have to chew on them for like 9 minutes.
No,
They're
you
too
don't.
rubbery.
Hold on, Welch's? No,
Welch's
no.
are awesome.
Am I tripping?
Fruit snacks?
Am I tripping?
No.
You are tripping beyond belief.
I'll bring you some. This weekend.
Well, James, I've had Welch's.
No, I feel like you're getting it confused.
Actually, you know what it is? I probably have always had old ones, and when they do sit a while, they become very rubbery. Why are you looking
He's
at me?
having stale Welch's.
I'm having stale Welch's, and
You eat stale gummies?
I don't think I purposefully wait for the expiration date to get far. I just think it's just one of those things that happens.
You're weird.
Peanut butter M&Ms are number one. And Reese's. So I'm noticing a trend. I like peanut butter and chocolate. I think that's the best combo.
Now, Blake, I want to throw this one at you.
Please.
The difference between candy and chocolate. Do you combine them into one category? Some people split them up. What's your take on that?
I think they're the same. Like a Hershey's bar is pretty low. It's just a basic chocolate bar.
Okay. But you could put that on the same category, say Skittles.
Yeah, they're all in the same category. Okay. Skittles, I think, is just one of those things that's cool to have, but it's never really top of my list.
The 346 said Skittles. From the 817 Nerds Ropes.
Very good
Mofos.
shout. Good shout. I think nerd ropes or sweet tart ropes.
That's tough.
The sweet tart ropes were top tier.
They're different.
They're different.
They're very different.
Which one can you have more of without having? I think the sweet tart ropes I really can only have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, those ones when you can have 2 or 3 good ones, I'm like, whoo.
The Nerds Ropes I can have 4 or 5.
Yeah.
The sweet tart rope I have destroyed like 15 in a pack.
Oh gosh, Alec, don't look at the score. 99.89. End of the third.
It's almost shirtless time, gentlemen.
Should we just get started early?
I mean, I think that's shirtless, right? You said if they're leaving by double digits, it's exactly 10
I
points.
said final call. I got to keep my word.
Oh my gosh. If everyone that's listening isn't into Twitch and YouTube, what are we doing? We're about to be shirtless.
Yeah, I need I need these viewership numbers to go up, please. We were talking about and making references and stuff to the Drake and Kendrick beef.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to get the opinion of one of the best athletes on the planet, Naomi Osaka. She was asked about it ahead of whatever tournament is coming up next for her. And I just think it's funny that mainstream media is asking athletes about this beef. But she asked for more violence in the most polite way. And it's amazing.
I'm curious if you've been following any of the feud between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and if you have a side that you picked and what you make of the music that's come out of it.
You know, I'm a pacifist. I'm a neutral party. But, however, Kendrick dropped some heat that last song. That last song is amazing, and I played it walking onto the court. So, currently, I think Kendrick's doing a good job.
Do you think that Kendrick should drop another song, or is it done? You do?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. You're a pile. You want to pile on? Like, why do you? Why?
But technically though, Kendrick dropped that song, and then Drake dropped the Heart Part 6. So technically, Kendrick could drop another 2 if he wanted to. And me being a Kendrick fan, I haven't gotten this many Kendrick songs in a very long time. So, you know, if he wants to keep dropping.
Yeah, you know, people can say Drake won, people can say Kendrick won. All I gotta say is we haven't heard Kendrick Lamar music in a minute, and it took a rap beef for him to actually start rapping and get the pen to work. So that's all I gotta say, you know. Shout out to the rap beef bringing out the best in both of these artists.
I just love how politely she asked for more violence.
Yep.
Like that was the kindest, most wholesome way to say, bring on more. Keep doing the most. I love it.
I love it.
Naomi is awesome. Let's see. From the 817 whatchamacallits, I saw those at Five Below as well.
What
Favorite
are
candy?
those? What are those?
I don't think I've ever had them, so I don't really know.
Whatchamacallits?
They're an older candy.
They're whatchamacallits.
Yeah.
From the 214, easily holiday Reese's.
We're not
Yes.
starting this
Any
again.
of the holiday. Give me the eggs.
not starting
Give me the
this
holiday
again.
bells. Give me the Halloween pumpkins. The ghosts. Any of that. Give me the Santas. Yes. Yes, 214.
They're not gonna sponsor you, Alec. Just stop it.
Not every time I glaze something, I'm not trying to get sponsorship money, okay?
What does glaze mean? Can you explain that to the viewers? You brought it up.
I have something to read. Sadly, there is bad news about the greatest show on TV, Inside the NBA. You could be witnessing the final episodes of Inside the NBA. For the past 30 years, Inside the NBA has become one of the most, if not the best popular, and most popular, I should say, sports shows in general. But the show may be coming to an end as TNT's parent company, Warner Bros. Discovery, appears to be losing its rights to host NBA games to NBC. According to a report from Sports Business Journal, NBC made the NBA a massive $2.5 billion offer. Warner Brothers Discovery has the option to match. It's unclear if they're willing to do so.
If we lose Inside the NBA with TNT, I will be sad. The world will be not as good of a place. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't care who they replace. I don't care what they call it. If we lose that, the world will not be. It'll be in a worse place. That's my happiness.
And
My entertainment.
Charles Barkley did say last week that if TNT lost the NBA rights to NBC, Inside the NBA wouldn't be the same moving forward because Ernie Johnson has already stated that he would not leave Turner. So
he doesn't. I mean, he is Turner Sports. I don't even want to think about it too much, Alec. I hope it doesn't happen. Can it not happen? You think it's already a foregone conclusion?
I mean, $2.5 billion is a steep price for Turner to pay. So
let's go, Turner. Let's go, Turner. They need a little Timmy.
From the 817, the Easter's Reese's Bunnies do be fire.
Not gonna even entertain that comment.
Because you know you're wrong and you don't like lying to people. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll let you have
You're
it.
a great guy.
I'll let
You know
have
that,
it.
Blake? You're a great dude.
I'll let you have
Very
it.
appreciative of your honesty and your transparency and your kindness.
For sure.
Love hosting with you because of that.
I'll be honest. You don't want me to be honest. We'll be here all day.
That's probably a good point. And the honest truth is that the Mavs don't have a double-digit lead right now. They're up 99-91 over OKC so far, as a free throw was just missed by Daniel Gafford, and it could have been a little bit closer, but there's 10:52 left in the fourth quarter. The Stars lead 4-0 at the second intermission. Coming up next, it's time for the final call, next on the Get Right.
Coming up Friday morning on Sean and RJ, how did the Stars and Mavs do in Game 2? Both looking to pull even in their series. A Dirks Bentley ticket giveaway in the Expressway. And then Keith Law, baseball analyst at 9:20. It's a Friday morning on The Fan.
What's up, Tolos? Bobby Belt here for my friends at Kissable Dental. Are you ready to be kissable this summer? At
All the damage can mean a larger payment for your insurance claim. Call Blue Nail Roofing today, 855-255-1975, 855-255-1975, BlueNailRoofing.com. Wind or hail, call Blue Nail.
This segment on 105 to the Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. They're the #1 Chevy dealer in the world. More Silverados than anyone else. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Find new roads based on new Chevy registrations 2023.
I have bad news to start the final call. The Mavs are only up by 9, so the shirts are still on.
Blame Daniel Gafford. He couldn't make a free throw.
Yeah, if he would have made even one of his 2, it'd be a different story right now.
Yep.
It is the final call for the get right, but it's not the get right. But it feels so right because it's the Young Guns. We were with you all night.
There's a chance maybe our shirts will come off after the show.
Yeah, because Applebee's might possess us.
Yeah, there's a great chance of that.
Yeah, I saw the ad for Dollaritas, and then literally that next break after I mentioned it, I was on Instagram and I saw one of my friends that lives in Houston posted that they were getting Dollaritas. I was like, oh, okay, so this is a thing. So it's happening. And all I have to say is OKC, they not like us.
Hey, not like us. Hey,
106-97. Like the Mavericks lead with 8:28 left in this game.
Shout out to PJ Washington, man.
And the Stars are up 4-0 at the second intermission. So what have you seen in this Mavs game so far, Blake Elliott?
Well, they were trying to pressure, make the role players knock down shots, and Luka's been kicking it out. And what if I told you Luka has 25, Kyrie has 7, and PJ Washington has 27 points with 7 threes?
A career postseason high for PJ Washington.
I mean, and you're going to need games like this. You can't just rely on Kyrie and Luka to drop 35 every night. You're going to need... They had Aaron Wiggins last game show up big. You're going to need a role player to step up big every once in a while. Tim Hardaway Jr. has 14. He's got more than Kyrie. What's going on? And I will take it. You need some games like this. You're not just going to always just win the traditional way of just Luka score 40. You're going to need some weird things to happen. And right now, it's still back and forth. I definitely don't want to say this game's in control because it's been runs. We're not rebounding well. Oklahoma City's still getting out in transition, but I think if you can cut down on the turnovers like they have been, I think you have a good chance.
TV comes back from commercial break, and Shea is at the foul stripe, of course. It's a tale as old as time, and I hate it. So, so far it seems like the Mavs have had a clear plan to try to eradicate some of the issues that haunted them in Game 1, and a key part of that has been Luka has just looked a little more like himself. I'm not going to say he's been perfect, and he looks like he's fully healthy. He still looks a little bit slower, admittedly so, but looks like Derrick Jones Jr. just rolled an ankle or something, colliding with somebody. That's not good.
An open 3.
Yeah, so hopefully the Mavs can keep a sense of consistency here. Jones Jr. is fine. He got back up. But right now, as it stands, it is a 7-point lead for your Mavericks with under 8 to go. PJ Washington showing up in these big moments is, I don't think you can say enough for how important that is, especially considering it's not exactly the best night that you've seen from Kyrie Irving. And it might not be to any fault of his own, but the ball movement has been there for the Mavericks.
Getting open looks.
Yeah, you're getting open looks, and that's what happens when Luka is showing that he's not, useless right now with that knee injury. He's shown a willingness to drive. He's shown an ability to try and create some space and draw some attention that will do just that for other people as well. So it looks like a lot of the issues that you had in the first game, you're kind of seeing the opposite.
Josh Green's got 3 threes. Just your role players are stepping up and making the shots. They're giving you those shots, and they're making them. Derek Lively, he actually has the highest plus minus, although being 1 for 7 from the field. He is a plus 20 right now.
Is that good?
It's pretty good. Sometimes all it takes is winning.
I'll take it.
I don't really, when it comes to playoff games, Alec, and you can tell me if you differ from this, especially my superstars, I don't really care what their efficiency numbers. If you win the game, if Luka's 4 for 48, but they win, I'm not going to be like, wow, I'm like, hey, they won. It's the playoffs. Just find a way to win. I'm not really caring about what their efficiency looks like and the 3-point percentage. Bro, win the game. It's the playoffs. Regular season, we can care about efficiency and numbers and stats, but just win the game.
Just win the game. I did see this from Stephen Dial of Fox 4. He put out the police report for the incident involving Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice's name was withheld from the report. It's all blacked out, but it obviously all lines up with the story that was reported. So basically, it says that the complaint was made at 1:30 a.m. The person involved in the situation says he was at Lit Kitchen and Lounge located off of North Harwood Street for an after-hours party, which he left shortly after. The complaint said that he was in his car driving away from the location, where at approximately 1:56 a.m., suspect Rashee Rice sent the person that sent the complaint a message on Instagram asking where he was at and asking him to return back to Lit Kitchen and Lounge. They then said that at the time he believed the suspect wanted to hire him to take pictures because he's a photographer. So that he then returned back to the location. He was made aware of where the suspect was at by other members of the suspect's entourage. He said that he located the suspect, and the suspect asked him to look at the suspect's cell phone where messages were sent between the person accusing Rashee Rice and another individual by the Instagram name of Blacked Out. He said he was looking down at the suspect's cell phone, then Rashee Rice, the suspect, then punched him on the left side of his face while he was looking at his phone.
I do not think that is a great incident that you want to be having as a receiver who was blossoming into something great. It's just all the wrong things that could be done in the offseason. Rashee Rice is checking off the checklist for sure. And I had such high promise for the guy. I thought he was going to be an awesome receiver, and he probably still will be, but really put himself behind the 8 ball with these offseason actions.
Yeah, and I talked about it with Chris whenever the story broke on Tuesday, and there was a lot to get to there, but you know, he had a great point that especially now, like, it's one thing if this is totally true and he just didn't learn and he's out here making stupid mistakes still, but now going out in public after you already have criminal records and people have seen that you will do the wrong thing in wrong situations, there is going to be a bit of a target on your back. So people might look for problems with you, and you might not necessarily incite it, but you could get involved in a situation where they're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt if something else does come up. And, you know, I was saying it wouldn't shock me if the Chiefs just outright give up on him here soon.
I don't know, man. I feel like he's just too talented. There probably has some disciplinary things, but we've known the Chiefs to be able to deal with some knuckleheads before.
I mean, we're acting like this is a Tyreek Hill type player. It's not. Rashee Rice is not that good.
Yeah, you're right.
He's a solid player.
He's not doing himself a favor. And they just drafted Xavier Worthy in the first round.
That should have been your first sign, was the fact that they felt the need to address it in the first round with a guy that, frankly, I think is overrated. So
Rashee Rice, man. You had a whole lot. You had your whole career. You're gonna be catching touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes winning Super Bowls. All you gotta do is sit in the house for the summer. You had to do that.
That was my point. I mean, it's probably easier for you to relate because, you know, you're right there with me in terms of like what we do in our free time. We know how to avoid situations. We know how to have fun without being dumb.
I mean, me and you aren't exactly A-list celebrities, but I know when I go out, there's a chance that someone might know what place I work for and how to conduct myself
and
in
it's
public.
Not even that part. It's just the fact that we're young too.
Yeah.
And we know how to stay out of trouble when trouble starts to develop.
All right, this isn't my scene, especially when you're everyone probably knows who Rashee Rice is when he's out there. And he's a Dallas native. Like, come on, man. You got to be a little smarter. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Like, it's really not that hard. And it's easy to speak from a 1,000-foot perspective, but what do I know?
What do we know?
What do I know, Blake?
I do know that we got to keep our shirts on.
Yes, this is true because the lead is only 7 points now, 108-101, between the Mavs and the Thunder. And it is 4-on-4 right now after 2 penalties won by each team for the Stars and the Avalanche. 4-0 still at the top of the third period. But that's going to just about do it for us here on the Get Right tonight. Me and Blake will be back on Saturday at 2 o'clock with you with the Young Guns this weekend. For Carter Freeman, who joined us from the Paycom Center, for James Tritley, for his hard work on the ones and twos tonight. For Blake Elliott, my name is Alec Medford. This has been the Get Right. Remember, it's still Mavs in 6. Let's go, Stars. Have a good night, everybody.
Through your phone, smart speaker, or more, name your device. The Odyssey app is there for you, thanks to our friends at Comerica.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TRUNK for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TRUNK for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TRUNK.
Oh, I'm having so much fun testing my skills on Prize Picks this playoff basketball season. It's the most simple way to get in on the action. You just select 2 or more players, you pick more or less on their projected stats, and you submit your lineup. Prize Picks is the most fun I've had, winning up to 100 times my money this basketball season. They've got quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types that are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app in America. I love it. Zach Wolchuk of the G-Bag Nation, I know you're going to love it too. It's as simple as, hey, Anthony Edwards, you want to go more than 29 points? Nikola Jokic for more than 10 rebounds? Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, you can, just more or less right there with Prize Picks. And Tolo's just for you. Download the app today. Use code Tolo for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code Tolo on Prize Picks for deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
Personal foul on the road.